I mean, our egos are too big and our dicks are too big, and it's like there's no way
we're gonna need a bigger White House.
Yeah, we're gonna need 2 White Houses. Picture how high can I jump?
It's all dick and balls.
Is
up
your
there.
dick too big that you can't get your hands?
That's the case, because I don't know where there's room in there. You got big hands too, and probably a decent sized hog. How are you getting your hand in there?
And they said it'll be like a ray of sunshine in your life, for your health, for the goodness of everything that you love. It's da-da-da-da-da-da, the Dapper Dads. Boo! What's up, everybody?
Episode 24.
24. Wow, the weight of this commitment is starting to set in on me. Truly, it is like a heavy, giant yoke placed upon my shoulders that I now must carry with. They say everyone has their cross to bear, and truly, the Dapper Dads brand has become my oxen-like yoke of heaviness I must carry.
You can tell because at the beginning of every episode now, you just like get into it with nonsense.
Because my thing is like
you're stressed.
I mean, I'm stressed about everything else. The podcast is the release for the stress. So for me, this is more of just like the random
boiling point.
Yeah, it's like when we're doing like the setup and the pre and everything. It's like blah, 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 and it's coming up my throat, and then I'm just like a bunch of bullshit. We're back to the Dapper Dads, everybody.
And you guys fucking eat it up.
Oh my God. And you guys are loving it. Thank you so much to everybody who is checking us out, subscribing to us. We've got some fantastic 5-star reviews we're going to be getting into at some point here in the episode.
So you leave 5-star reviews if you haven't already. Put that shit on iTunes. I know it's very confusing. And if you're going to leave a review, go down to write a review. You can click 5 stars and that's just a rating, which we'll still accept. It still looks good.
But just so everyone knows, at 100 5-star reviews with everyone who has submitted, we will be doing a special giveaway. If you haven't, if you're just now jumping in with us, at 100 5-star reviews, we will be unleashing a unique piece of Dapper Dads merchandise into the universe. We do have a current merch store set up. If you want to check us out, go to www.thedapperdads.com for everything that is all tied in Dapper and Dad-like.
And if you want some merch, you can do www.thedapperdads.com/shop. We have t-shirts and we have mugs, and there's beautiful pictures of them. If you're in the Rockford area, you can select the option for local pickup/delivery.
Just give us
an
address.
Hand deliver it to. Yeah, when you go to checkout, there's a space for a note. Just give us an address or where you want to meet up, or an email or a phone number, some way to contact you.
Like
we
literally,
can work out the details.
If you get at us, we can meet you in a parking lot somewhere. We can meet in a back alley. We
It'll
can
be
meet
like
at
a
a bar.
Craigslist thing.
Where it'll be a creepy Craigslist thing where you get Dapper Dad's merchandise. So
and you don't have to pay shipping rates. If you're anywhere else in the United States, we do have the regular shipping option. I think shipping is like $6 or $7.
It's not terrible.
That's not on me. Obviously, I don't work for the fucking government. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of changes.
Oh, if we worked for the government, there'd be a lot of different shit going on.
If we worked
with
for
this
the
program.
government, this world would really be in the shit.
Man. Okay, what is the first thing you would change if the Dapper Dads got elected to an official office?
I can change anything,
And,
or are we like comptrollers?
Okay, so
Because I don't know what that is.
In charge of sanitation over national parks and wildlife. No. Okay, so like
I like it.
Let's say for some okay, I mean we're already talking about like celebrities running in 2020. Let's say the Dapper Dads had a platform for 2020. We ran, for some reason we got elected to president. Like we were the presidents of the United States. Like who? Okay, first of all,
we're the first duo president.
Because we can't decide who's the vice and who's the lead, because like
everyone's like both of them.
I mean our egos are too big and our dicks are too big, and it's like there's no way we're
gonna need a bigger White House.
We're gonna need 2 White Houses,
2 Oval Offices.
Yeah, we're gonna need 2 of everything. The house is gonna have to be redone in yellow and red.
Yeah, really just shake everything.
Okay, I think the first thing I would do is taxes. Just get rid of taxes. Just fuck taxes. Just fuck taxes on everything.
I think we're
no, man, I'm going straight out anarchist with this bullshit, man. We're gonna get rid of the taxes.
I would tax the people who make more money.
Oh yeah.
And I think we need taxes.
I think what
I would do, like free healthcare. I think
free healthcare would be a big one. But I think for the taxes, what we'd have to do is tax everyone who makes a certain percentage of money. And if you're underneath that, you don't pay taxes. You know, make it like a curve. If you make this much money, you do this percentage of taxes.
And we are immediately assassinated.
And we are 100% taken out by the Kremlin, the CGB, the FBI,
the reptile people,
the reptile people,
the government,
the people who
Alex Jones,
the people who are inside the inner
to the
earth.
death.
This is when Alex Jones finally comes to fight us to the death. All these conglomerates of peoples of the world's governments, they're like, we need to send an avatar to fight the Dapper Dads. And he just like comes out of a room full of smoke and he's
Shirtless.
like, no, who are we going to send to kill the Dapper Dads? We have to, and it's like a big fight. And then it's just like, boom. And it's just like the wall blows up and it's Alex Jones. He's like, InfoWars
Like
is
the
here to
Kool-Aid
save
man.
you. Yeah.
But then we defeat him by feeding him a big bowl of chili and he forgets what he's there for.
Yeah, honestly, like he comes to see us and like we're just like, oh hey, it's like it's got to be this big thing, like this big plot where like he's coming up and he's sneaking into the yellow and red house and he comes up to the window and he like comes in to kill us and he goes up and he's like, I'm here to see the Dapper Dads, and someone's like, oh, you don't need an appointment or anything, you can just go right
They're
in.
just in there.
Are you sure I don't need an appointment or anything like that? We just come out, we're like, oh, Alex Jones, shit, yeah, come on man, get in here, come sit down, yeah, right appointment right now, here, have some chili.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be our tactic. We have to be so anti-authoritarian with him that he is subdued into a big bowl of chili, at which point, which we lace with some type of narcotics, knock him out, and then just kick him out the door.
I like it. I also like the idea of having to call it the yellow and red house.
Well,
instead
it's
of
gonna
the
be
White
well, it's gonna be
House.
the yellow and red house. That thing's getting a full
1600
makeover.
Pennsylvania Avenue, the yellow and red house. You can't miss
You
it.
can't miss the big yellow and red house with the two mouths on the flag outside. We got the American flag, and then right underneath the Dapper Dad flag.
Yeah, and then we're just burning Confederate flags.
Oh,
All
God.
right.
All the shit I'd be fucking up. I'd be knocking over monuments and burning
Yeah,
Confederate
it would
flags.
get-
Oh, man, Nazis and racists, y'all better watch out. Dapper Dads are coming for you in 2020.
beautiful.
I mean, I'm coming for you right the fuck now, but in
Oh,
2020...
I'm coming right now.
Oh, I'm coming as
I'm
we
so
speak.
excited.
But literally in 2020, my platform's coming for you, Nazis.
So yeah, get at us. We've got some submissions, which I think are going to be the main course of this episode.
Because we do have some nice jumping off points to go from them.
So again, the website www.thedapperdads.com. Anonymous submissions there. Every single way to stream this shit,
Every
including
single possible.
Spotify, which
Yes.
is new. Spotify approved us. I don't know who's losing their job at Spotify, but someone
thank
is.
you.
So you can listen to us there if you prefer to do that. Also on YouTube with the full video, which we think is working, but we never know.
Very
it's a fun
possible.
treat for all of us.
Exactly, because some weeks you get a video and some weeks you get nothing.
You always
know?
get some video.
God
It just
takes,
isn't
God,
the whole thing.
God gives, God takes away.
Also, dapperdadspodcast@gmail.com for emails. If you want to call, text, send us anything, 402-7-DAPPER. That's 402-732-7737. Call it, text it, send it pictures. We have one submission that I think is the first one from someone very drunk who just saw the phone number somewhere
Yes,
in
I think-
Chicago, and
yes.
we'll get into that.
Well, I think we also need to talk about... I'm still waiting for closure on the cottage cheese thing. I think we need to get a hold of these people and just like let them know we need answers.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to send them a text.
Also trying to get a representative for Rap Snacks out here so I can get my official Fast Finger Slim Rap Snacks going.
Yes, everyone contact Rap Snacks and tell them you
At their
heard of them.
At their official Twitter, though, not the fake Twitter.
There's a fake Twitter. I was like, there's another thing we need to promote because we're not good at promotion. We have a Twitter now.
Yes.
It's at Dapper Dads on Twitter. We're following people back. We're posting some nonsensical shit there.
Yep.
So
Also,
go follow us.
check out our personal Twitters. We've got Brain Dead Drama and Fast Finger Slim.
Yep. Check out the Instagram, which is relatively new as well. We're following back.
We've got exclusive photo and video content on the Instagram all the time
Yeah.
from all of our shenanigans. So if you're ever catching us out doing our Dad Squad thing, you make sure to check out the Instagram story. And we also put exclusive pictures from Dad Evenings out on there. So
Yeah, that's
keep your
Dapper
eyes
Dad's
peeled.
Podcast is the username on Instagram. Follow us, fuck with us, learn some shit.
Exactly. So you want to get into the whole luncheon meat of this episode then?
Yeah, I guess we'll just jump right into the submissions. We'll go with the first one we got technically because it's pretty short. On the website, we got a submission. I believe I know who this is from. The title is Drugs, and it simply says, alcohol is a drug, dads. That stems from a recent episode when I was talking about how I don't do drugs and then talked about how I drink a bunch. And yes, I agree. Alcohol is a drug.
Technically.
But when I say drugs, I'm not considering alcohol a drug.
Okay, now here's the thing. If we're going to talk about things that are drugs, technically anything could be considered a drug. You watch this shit on like My Strange Addiction and everything like that. Like that girl who was huffing all that computer duster, that's a drug in that
Have you
instance.
ever I've never done duster.
No.
But have you ever sprayed a bunch of it and then it's just in the air and it gets in your mouth?
And
I had
you're
this
like,
one
it
day.
tastes like dead. Like,
It
how
tastes
on
so
earth?
bad, and I couldn't get it out. I was
Well,
like
it's
brushing my teeth and fucking doing everything, and I'm like, how do people? And I know that's the thing they put in it to stop people from huffing
It's like the Switch cartridges. Like when the Nintendo Switch first came out, somebody was like, these taste really bad. And the first question is, why the fuck are you putting it in your mouth? And then Nintendo was like, oh, we did that on purpose so that like if a dog or a baby puts it in their mouth, they'll spit it out because it's a super small cartridge.
Yeah.
Same reason they put that sulfur smell in natural gas. Same reason Huffer tastes bad. So and you've seen the video of this girl, right? Because this is like an older. She just sits there and like sucks on it like she's drinking a lemonade
and
or some shit like that.
Shit too.
Oh, and it's
horrible.
awful. It's like, how are you sitting? And then like I
should only be huffing gas and spray paint, guys.
honestly, you shouldn't be huffing things that go into your mouth cold and taste bad. You should be huffing things in a safe place with lots of ventilation.
Under a bridge, and then when the cops approach you, they say, "What have you been up to?" And you have a silver ring around your mouth because you're huffing silver spray paint. You go, just hanging out by the river, and they're like, "You been up to anything tonight, son?" And you're like, "No, nothing at all." And they're like, "What's that silver residue around your mouth?" And they're like, "Oh, I sucked off the Tin Man." Because that's the type of shit you do when you huff spray paint.
Yeah, that's the type of shit that happens to you in your life.
I used to spray paint things. We're not going to get into it, but I used to have it where I'd blow my nose after spray painting things, and it would be all of the colors of the spray paint I'd used.
And it's pretty.
Like, it's pretty, but you're also like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just only huff gas and spray paint, kids.
Yeah, come on, guys. Just sniff your fingers after you put the gas can back on, and then just move on with your day.
Gas smells so good.
Gas smells really good. I know. I hate that it smells so good.
Yeah.
It smells so good. It looks so pretty on the ground.
Huff markers, and I don't think some markers smell horrible.
Well, that's. I mean, the idea behind huffing is you're not supposed to like enjoy what it is. You just do it because you're trying to get high.
But gas smells good, and then you can get
okay,
high.
but that's not like its intended thing. Like nobody,
I know.
like when they put the tester out, nobody was like that smells good. But there's just something wrong with us where we think the gasoline smells good.
I think a lot of. Comment if you like the way gas smells.
If you like the way gas,
everyone does.
Okay, I feel like everyone does have a strange thing like this though. My mother does not mind the smell of a skunk. Now, me and my sister would give her shit about this when we were kids.
I have people that feel that same way.
Because we were like little kids and we would be like, "Oh, you like the way skunk smells," and she'd be like, "No, I just don't mind it because her family's from the South and like she grew up in the country, and so like she doesn't mind the smell because like she's had dogs that have come back sprayed by skunks. Her siblings have been sprayed by skunks. It's not a thing. She doesn't get bugged by it. So
well, it's just like people who smoke weed don't mind the way skunk smells because everyone can relate to some skunky weed smell.
Yeah, exactly. Good old drugs.
Yeah, I never got into huffing, but I can respect a good
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't dabbled in some drug. Now, I've never done anything hard. I've never done anything with a needle. I've never done anything you had to like crush up and snort. I've never snorted anything. I've never injected anything, and I've never...
With my nose surgery...
Oh my God, I can't even begin to imagine you snorting.
They told me if I snorted anything, there's a chance that my nose could collapse.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was just like a scare tactic.
No, that's probably true.
It's probably a little bit of both.
On your face, yeah.
It was funny when I had that surgery because they were like in front of my parents, like, "Do you do any drugs?" And I was like, "No." And then when they wheeled me in there, he was like, "Ask this question because it tends to change. Do you do any drugs?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah. Think I would know if I do drugs."
Yeah, see, that happened to me when I went to the hospital with my heart shit because my mom was, and that's the summer I was pretty much trying to kill myself because like I was going off the rails with everything I was doing. And when I got into the hospital, it was this tiny little woman doctor. She was just a very small woman, and she just kept coming up and she's like, "So, you doing drugs or anything like that?" And I'm like, "No, ma'am, not at all." And then like my mom finally got up to like use the bathroom or something, and
I do all the drugs, bitch. Heard.
Well, she came back and she was like, "Okay, now that your mom's gone, like, do you do any drugs?" And I was like, yeah, the summer's been a little wild, so I did this and this. I've done this and 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 this." And like I was half expecting like okay, but she was just like, we were all young once. She's like, "I've had my fun too," and I was like, "Well, all right."
And then she goes and freebases meth in the corner,
and I'm just like, "Oh, this is not a good."
Fun was one.
I'm like, "Oh, this is not a good hospital."
I wish I had better insurance.
I wish I had better insurance that paid for meth.
They won't give me the drugs because they're taking them.
No, so I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't dabbled in anything, but my rule of thumb throughout my life has been that if it doesn't come out of the ground, don't put it into your body because I don't think. And I mean, obviously in this country we're having a huge narcotics issue right now. We're having a problem with a heroin epidemic, which is a set of words I never wanted to have become part of our normal vocabulary as a people. It's terrible. It's disgusting. We don't promote that type of shit on the show at all.
No.
We promote people having fun. We promote people being themselves. But
also understand that your lean and your Zans are also heroin.
Yeah.
It's all heroin.
Yeah. So.
And it's all garbage now. Like, I hate when you're like, yeah, I only do things that come from the ground, and people are like, Coke comes from the ground. It's like, and then they pour gas in it. And then they do all this shit to it.
Literally, people try to like, I remember I had an issue with somebody one time where I was like, yeah, don't bring it into my house if it doesn't come out of the ground, and they were like, what about Coke? And I just got really close, and I was like, if you bring Coke into my goddamn house, I will flush it down the toilet, and then I will smash your head into the toilet where I flushed the Coke down. And they were like, okay, no problem, man. I was just asking if that was okay. And it's like, what doesn't make sense about when I say, like, if it doesn't come out of the ground, don't bring it into my house? Like, that's not a hard thing to understand. And for me personally, like, okay, we come from the hood a little bit, we come from some rougher areas, and it's like, I learned from my experience that you never judge people for where they're at in life. Like, yeah, you can look at the junkie and you can look at the paint huffer and you can be like, wow, those are some fucked up people. And yeah, they are fucked up people, but don't look down on those people.
We're all fucked up people.
We're all fucked up in our own ways. I mean, everybody does shit. You got girls who go out and they max out their credit cards every day going out shopping once they make a payment. Well, yeah, that's
my thing is, like, with addictions, like, anything can be an addiction or
you can be addicted to buying on things on the internet. You can be addicted to food. You can be addicted to being on your phone.
To weird shit. I'm addicted to tying my shoes.
Well,
I'm just in my room tying 12 pairs of shoes.
Well, did you see they're classifying video game addiction as a thing now, where like you can't like work or anything because you feel too compelled to play a video game? And it's like, to me, and like, I'm not gonna say that that's a disease, but it definitely is a mental condition where if you can't stop yourself from doing something, you do need to seek help with it.
Yeah. When I worked at where you work before you worked there, I don't know if we've ever addressed that.
Yeah, let's see if anybody.
I worked there like a decade ago, and you work there now, and we didn't work there together, but we did work together at a different place, so it's been a weird scenario.
I love that our old managers from where we work together remember me fondly, but you cannot be recalled.
I know that bitch remembers me.
You could not be recalled for even
There's no way
with photographs. She was like, doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, she's just lying because she's obsessed with me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Anyway,
touched a sore spot there, folks. Man,
drama's that bitch.
Clearly, man. I'm just gonna keep twisting that knife around for the rest of your life.
Twist my nipples.
Okay, if that's what you really want. You've just been paying me to twist the knife.
When I worked there was a guy I worked there when I was like 17, and he was probably like our age now, and he was a very weird person, and I was just trying to make some small talk, and he was like, yeah, I had to get this job. I moved back in with my parents. I like was going through a rough spot, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks."
Yeah,
but it's
happens.
Not a terrible job. And he's like, "Yeah, you ever play? I think it was League of Legends or World of Warcraft or whatever, one of those type of games."
10 years ago, it was like, probably WoW.
Yeah, I was like, "No, I've never played that. It's not my cup of tea." And he was like, "Yeah, I got real into it." He had a good job. He was in college to like move up the ladder at that job, and he was engaged, and he lost all of that to this game, and he had to go move in with his mom as like late 20s, early 30s. He's probably like older, and he told me all of this, and I was just like, wow. And he's like, yeah, I can't wait to get home and play it. And I was like, holy shit.
At that point, okay, now here's my thing. At that point in your life, is there nobody who loved him enough to sit him down and be like, okay, maybe we should talk about this? Because like, if you, this would be the equivalent of me looking at your life right now you have, because I think we can agree that you and I are both at places in life where we're somewhat comfortable. You know, good opportunities, stable place to live, decent
the
job,
best I've ever been.
Yeah, best we've ever been.
And as good as it's gonna get.
And suddenly you started spending all your money on vinyls, or like you started spending all your money on going to shows, or like you started spending all your money on like.
This is hitting too close to home.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying is this game meant so much to this guy that he gave up a prolific career, college, and a fiance.
Yeah.
Moved back in with his family and started working retail, all because of this game. So like, imagine having everything you have right now taken away because you can't stop buying vinyls.
Yeah.
Don't you think that at least me, your buddy, your partner in business and life, would sit you down and be like, you have to stop doing this because you're going to lose everything. I'm going to come take your tower for a week so you can focus on work and everything. Like, what would you do if like I came like, I just like pull up in front of your house? I'm like, And I like just storm in and I just grab all your vinyls and your player and your speaker, and I'm like, you were spending too much money on this shit. You're not going to
have
work.
A heart attack because I'd be like, no, there's some rarities in there. You need to treat them carefully. If you're gonna take them one by one. And you're just like greasy fingers
dropping them.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god.
I'm like, sorry man, I just came from 7-Eleven. I got a big bunch of greasy hot dogs I was eating. Broke my veganism for this.
You put them in a bag just with other foods, and I'm like, no,
not even
that's
that.
a first pressing. The only 200 were printed. It's clear. It's clear with the yellow insert. Don't do it. No, the poster.
Not even that. My truck is parked where I usually park it across the street.
Yeah.
And I'm just standing in your front lawn, like trying to frisbee golf them into my trunk, and you're like, ah!
yeah, this is actually hurting.
We just got young Kurt and Matt the God holding you back. We're like, it's for your own good, buddy. It's for your own good. And you're like, no.
They love vinyl too, so I'd be like, what are you guys doing? You know that's Blonde. Yeah. That's the Black Friday copy of Blonde. That's
first of all, I think what we would do is we would go through your collection and take what we want, and then we would use the rest as frisbee discs. Because man, I'm not about to let you ruin your life over some materialistic shit. That's the whole point I'm trying to make.
I have a very addictive personality. I know that. And I know how to keep things in check. Like if I was like slightly worse with my addictive personality,
if I was unchecked,
I would be alcoholic. I would smoke a pack a day, and I would have like a ton of shoes and shirts and
records
vinyl and because I even my last check, fucking shout out Jeff Rosenstock, you dropped the album, and I seen first pressing 2000. I just recently got into him, so I'm like, this is the first album cycle where I can jump on it. First pressing 2000, crazy beautiful blue, baby blue and black, and I was like, he only got like $60 and it's gonna be like 32 after shipping. You're not gonna get it until the end of March, but I need that first pressing. And I did it, and then I was like, fuck, why did I do that? The album hasn't I barely even listened to it.
I'm so mad because I missed the chance to hop on the Brockhampton Saturation box set. Is that something they're going to be restocking, do you know, or no?
I don't know. I was going to do that, but I don't want CDs.
I don't want CDs either, but
they said in the future they do want to do vinyl, but
the box set has like the Blu-ray of the documentary and everything, and then it's got the demo CD as well. It's like, that's what I would want, is the DVD and the demo CD.
Which
that'd be worth it.
You can get both of those online,
but
so
have a nice
I just hate
physical
CD.
But that box set is going to look so
came
nice.
with a trading card too of a random
that's
trading
what I'm
card
saying.
of one of the members. It was great, but
I'm definitely gonna have to bring like $100 to the show and get some good merch, because I was looking at their merch store recently and I saw a bunch of shit. It's all sold out right now.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
Me and young Kurt have tried to grab something and it just instantly.
So we're definitely gonna have to get. Some
we're
shit
all
at
gonna
the show.
get shit at the show, but. Anyway, anything can be an addiction, and keep your addictions in check. Because it's a slippery slope. Because sometimes even with records, like I'll buy records and then I'm like, why are you doing that? I have records that I don't even get around to listening to.
Same. I do the same thing with video games, because I refuse to pay full price for a video game. $60 for a game these days.
Insane.
It's too much, because most of these games just focus on multiplayer anyway. They don't even focus on like a good single player campaign. So I won't pay more than like $30-$40 for a game at best, and that's if I'm like dying to play it. You know, like I paid $40 for the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, because it's the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Like that's something that I know I'm going to play a lot. It's 3 games for $40, you know?
And nothing makes you more angry than
nothing makes me angrier than Crash Bandicoot. Oh my god.
Fuck that game.
Fuck Crash Bandicoot. What's the other thing? Oh yeah, fuck Led Zeppelin. We were going to do that this episode.
Yeah.
I don't want to. This is the year the dads take a strong stance against Led Zeppelin reissues, because if I didn't
Led Zeppelin, if I'm at a bar and you play any Led Zeppelin,
if I hear Stairway to Heaven one more time for the rest of my life, I'm going to blow my brains out.
I don't get why. Like, if we're out and about and you can like Led Zeppelin
and you can like the Beatles,
that's fine. I hate both of them, and there's not a time. There's things I love listening to, but I'm not like, let's go to the bar and throw this on.
I understand
there's
a difference between like listening to yourself music and like being out at a bar music.
That'd be like if we all got in my car to drive to Chicago and I was like, I'm going to listen to this really weird shit that no one's going to be into.
Right.
And I'm going to exclusively play it. When we're all like, you know, when you get in the car and you're going, you're like, need to hear bangers. We've got things queued up in my mind. I'm like, I know at some point I'm going to pop this on. And then I'm just like instead listening to like, I don't even have a good reference point because all I hear is bangers. Right. But if that'd be like if we were in the car and I was like, let's listen to Led Zeppelin for an hour and a half drive to Chicago.
Why? Not just Led Zeppelin. Let's listen to some Led Zeppelin outtakes and studio demos. Like, ugh.
Yeah, there's so much garbage that we need to just leave.
Because a band was influential and they have a back catalog of material does not mean that that catalog of material is good or that it will be influential to their brand in the future. I'm just going to throw that out there because this is a discussion we had last night real quick, we had a real nice dad's evening last night at
Real
Slim's
nice.
place.
Now, when we say the Dad Squad, which of course is me, Slim, shout out Young Courage, shout out Matt the God, that's the Dad Squad. We do a lot of things. It's going to be a big year for us.
Huge
When
year.
you hear that we're going out, based on the stories you've heard, I feel like the visual in people's heads is a rowdy party time.
Rowdy bunch
drinking,
of
smoking.
rabble-rousers.
Yeah. Instead, we went to Slim's house. He chefed up a 5-star meal.
Oh,
what was it?
please.
Because we have a dad chat, and you asked us what you wanted to cook, and we were all like, "Don't cook for us," because we're garbage people, and you insisted. So Matt
Because believe it
threw
or
out.
not, I am also a garbage person, and I love my garbage people.
Yeah, Matt threw out, and what did it even end up being?
He threw out specifically grilled asparagus with salt, pepper, and garlic, potato croquettes, which, if you're unfamiliar in cooking terms, a potato croquette is simply mashed potatoes that you form into a ball, roll in eggs and breadcrumbs, and then fry. So it's just a fried ball of mashed potatoes, pretty much. And then I got to get the phrasing right here. Pork medallions with browned butter.
Yeah.
So the challenge for me there was none of that, really. I didn't have time to do croquettes because, for the love of God, between making the potatoes and heating up enough frying oil and doing all that shit takes like an hour to make croquettes. So y'all had to settle for some mash.
Yeah. And I was drinking when this text was happening, so I couldn't remember if we even like agreed on something. So I
No.
was coming in blind, and then you were like, you actually made that."
Yes,
And
I made the whole thing.
And as a vegan person, you cooked us meat, and it was fucking like really good. Like, no offense, didn't know what you were going to be coming with the kitchen skills. I was blown away.
Thank you very much.
If you get the opportunity, one day we'll give away a meal from Slim. He will cook for you, because I cannot cook for shit. And you just we came in and you had all the pans going, and you were like, "How's it going, guys? We're gonna be eating in like 15 minutes." And then Young Curd brought a bottle of wine, so it's the four of us at a table, wine coolers. I had some beers because I'm a man.
Matt the God brought rosé ciders.
Yes,
they were
rosé
hard
ciders.
ciders, but with rosé flavor.
Yeah. Young Curd
And I'm quoting
brought
here,
peach
10
Moscato.
$10 at Meyer looked pretty good.
Yeah. And so it's
And
like
they were good.
glasses of wine and wine coolers.
Yeah, it was a
and
very
this like
dainty
very
evening.
nice meal. Young Curd requested Daniel Caesar be played, so it was just very like romantic. Like I said, what people are picturing when we're like getting shit faced and rowdy,
This
is
was
like
the exact
polar
opposite.
of
What
that.
I can honestly say this would equate to would be almost goddamn near be a gentleman's dinner, because we all came over. We had some nice drinks. I made a nice meal for everybody, which just to go off on that really quick, I'm so flattered you guys love my food, seriously, because I'm always really self-conscious about it, because one of the things my mom taught me growing up is that even if you're an emotional cripple who can't love people properly, if you're making people feel full, they're feeling something, you know? So it's like, even if I can't, like, I know I'm not the best at expressing my emotions, but I know when I cook for people, I'm doing something that's tangible for them. It's a gift that they're going to use, because everybody's got to eat. And I've always just loved cooking. I've always really enjoyed cooking, and I used to do catering with my mom. She ran a catering business out of the house. So when I cook, I'm used to cooking for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So like we would do there was one thing we did every year. It was a dinner theater, and she was specifically contracted to do the dinner for the theater, and she would base the meal around the show that was playing. So it wouldn't be like, you're going to see a play and then you'd get like, Salisbury steak and fries and shit like that. So like she did I remember one of the plays was the Beverly Hillbillies. There's a play of it, believe it or not.
Of course.
There's a musical for SpongeBob. Why can't there be a Beverly Hillbillies play? And so she did, she dug out all of her like Southern cooking cookbooks and was looking at like time specific recipes from the era. And so we did like Cornish game hens that were stuffed with rosemary and lemon and garlic. And then those were roasted. And then we did like spinach greens and bacon fat. Did fried personal peach cobblers for dessert, like 200 of them. Wow. So keep in mind here, I'm sitting here stuffing and seasoning 200 small birds at a time, whipping up, 50 pounds of collard greens with 30 pounds of bacon fat in it. I'm whipping up, 200 individuals, taking the peach, make the crust, take a homemade peach filling that I made by the giant pot earlier, fill it, press it, fry it, cinnamon sugar, and then ice cream. All handmade, everything. So it's like I do take a lot of pride when I cook. So to have you guys love my food so much meant a lot. And as a vegan, one of the things I've found is that most people don't expect me to cook meat really, really well because. But you got to keep in mind, I ate meat for 25 years.
I
cooked
didn't
meat for
expect
25
you to not
years.
cook meat well because I knew like you used to get down, and I believed in you.
It
But
does
like,
surprise
I feel like
people.
there's a lot of people who would be like, I'm vegan, so I'm not gonna make meat.
Well, and my thing is that, like, yeah, I do take an ethical stance on it because, and I won't get into it because I'm not going to use the show as a platform to preach about my belief system and everything, but it's like, that's my belief system. That's something I personally hold to myself. You know, I don't need to hold everyone else to that standard because everyone else doesn't hold themselves
how it should be
to
with
the standard.
everyone's beliefs of any
Well,
sort.
and that's just how it is with everything. I believe, with my beliefs towards people, with my beliefs towards personal self and everything like that. It's like, this is what works for me personally. I don't push it on people because it's like, one, you're never going to make anybody do anything by forcing them to do it. You have to let people make up their own minds, make their own decision, and come to conclusions rationally. So that's why I'm okay with cooking meat for my friends, because I know my friends are going to show up to my house and want all the vegan food that I make. You know I can whip up some mean vegan food, but I know I can whip up a really nice dish with everything for my friends instead. I will tell you that the mashed potatoes you guys ate were vegan. That was made with vegan butter and almond milk.
Yeah, I seen you put almond milk in it, and I got nervous, but they were very tasty. So yeah, again, very, very good job. Very impressed.
I just want to jack myself off for a second and say the way I cooked the pork, if anyone is interested in trying it for yourselves, I had never made a brown butter sauce for pork before. So what I ended up doing was just looking up a couple different recipes online, and most of what I found was like a butter gravy that people made. But the herbs that I used got a little bit too crispy when I was cooking it, so I didn't end up making like a gravy for it. I made like a brown sauce, which I don't know how successful it was. I don't think anybody tried it because it kind of looked bad, but
I think I was confused. I thought it was just more gravy.
Well, the pork itself, I took a tenderloin, sliced it into medallions, and then pan fried it with butter, rosemary, thyme, garlic, and I just put seasoning salt on top. That was it. Yeah. No big secret. You just have to make sure there's no big secret to cooking well. You just have to know what you're doing well. You have to know how to time things properly. You have to know what herbs go well with what. So.
And I don't have any of those skills.
Well, I am very happy to cook for you guys anytime you want.
Good. I need a meal every day.
Good.
Also, at your house, to change the mood for a moment, I've had a lighter for over 2 years.
Oh yeah, we gotta take our hats off for this.
I've managed to. I'm not taking my hat off because I'm bald underneath.
I'm out of respect.
I've had this lighter one time. I think it was like June. I think it's been over 2 years.
We are sending a solid boy off to sea today, everybody. Today, this America lighter has. It's been in the family. It has. It's literally it's been here for us.
Me and Matt the God were going somewhere, and he was running to the mobile, and I was like, grab me a lighter. So he grabbed the most ridiculous one, which is an American flag with a bald eagle.
It's majestic. It's truly a symbol of American freedom, this Bic lighter.
And I happened to have it for like a few months, which is longer than I kept on lighters. So I was like, I'm going to see how long I can hold on to this. So I've held on to it, and it has worked for over 2 years.
It's a miracle lighter, like is what it is.
Yeah, it literally is insane. Like, I've never been able to hold on to anything for 2 years.
No.
Let alone have it keep working. And last night at your house, as I tried to light one of my mini cigarettes, it just stopped. And I knew it was going to be hard when it left because I kept thinking I lost it. And when it finally... I'm glad I didn't lose it. I'm glad I lived with it for a long time. I'm going to try to refill it. I want it to be my lighter forever.
You know, it's like a nice pair of veteran underwear. You know, you get it. It's comfortable. You wash it all the time. You wear it all the time. But you know, every day you're wearing that underwear, you're just wearing it out a little bit more. Then you get that third hole going in the crotch because it splits one day when you're bending down at work to get something. Then you're like, nah, the underwear's still good. I'm going to keep this. Then the tear just gets a little bigger each time you're stretching around.
The waistband is just uncontrollable. It's doing that thing where it gets all wavy because
and then it starts getting crunchy because it's dried too much. And then you've got 3 legs in your boxers. Yeah. Your wife's looking at you. She's like, honey, you need to throw these out. And you say, no, there's still at least 20 good wears out of that underwear. Next thing you know, you're at the court with your boys playing some b-ball in the summer. You go skins. You take the shirt off. You got your gym shorts, your boxes underneath. Next thing you know, that elastic starts crumbling in the summer heat and your underwear starts slipping out underneath your gym shorts. Next thing you know, you're getting blocked trying to make that 3-point shot. You reach up, and as you reach up to make that 3-point shot, the boxers fall off between your legs. There's dirty underwear on the court. Everyone's screaming. They shut down the park. You are specifically told never to come back. They take your photograph, hang it up at the park center, and you are officially banned from doing any activity in Ogle County ever again.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like having this lighter.
Yeah.
Only it didn't end so sadly.
No,
I'm not banned from anywhere.
I'm sad for you.
I don't think I've processed it. And hearing this probably sounds ridiculous, but just imagine having a lighter for 2 years. This lighter is a piece of me.
And I want you to think about, because like I'm definitely somebody who's changed a lot, specifically on a year-to-year basis.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything outside of like clothing that I've had for 2 years and kept. That is, man, bless that lighter.
And think of how many times you like lose, and I've like thought I lost it a bunch of times, and then I managed to.
This is something we're just gonna have to have displayed here.
I know.
Down
I'm
in
gonna
the dungeon,
try to. I think you can refill it. If I can refill it, I'm gonna keep it going. But
well, if we can't refill it, we know where it goes.
Yeah, I love it. Shout out my lighter.
Shout
I'll
out
never
to you.
forget you.
Shout out to you, sir. Never forget. So what? 2016 to 2018?
Yeah.
Or do we want to say 2015 to 2018?
I think we'll say 16 because I'm not sure on the time frame.
16 to 18, folks. RIP Dramas Fantastic Lighter. If you would like to send us some America lighters, get at us.
If you think you can replace it, send me your best lighter, and I'll see how long it lasts. I need to, because I'm like, do I get another lighter and do this again?
No.
I don't think I can replace
I mean,
it. It's definitely too soon. I need some breathing time.
It's like having a dog. Like,
I know. That's
like,
what I
like.
that's what I thought.
You know they're not gonna live as long as you. You know it's just gonna be a chunk of time, and then it's gone, and you're like, God, do I get another dog?
Yeah.
Do I?
Some people get another dog right away. Some people never get one. I don't know. Only time will tell.
You're just bumming lighters off me for like the rest of the year. You're just like, hey man, you got a light on you? I'm like, yeah.
Well, that's like, think of how many times people have asked me for a lighter, and it's been that lighter, and I got it back
too, because people are notorious.
There's been
lighter
like 3 times when I thought I really lost it, and then I just found it in like a different jean pocket, or someone found it in a car.
Its way back to you.
It like literally, it's crazy. But yeah, all right. Anyway, do we want to get into submissions? We should play the voicemail first, because there's not too much to go off of that.
Yeah,
and then we'll get into the one that is gonna run the gauntlet of this episode.
Yes. So this right here was a voicemail we got. This is I think we can go out on the record saying this is one of the first successful submissions from the stickers.
Yeah. I think I'm curious about the one we got. The one that said like, "You're a fucking baby tiger." Yeah. I don't know what that was. That could have been the first one. This is the first voicemail we've gotten where this person clearly has no idea what this is. And they read the phone number. They called it. What time did that come in?
This came in at 1:26 in the morning.
Yep.
This is something where we can verify from the area code that it came from an area we were in recently where we saw pew, pew, pew. Check out the last episode to see our review of the show. Mm-hmm. So this is definitely something where I think the experiment definitely worked.
Yeah.
So this was our voicemail.
Here's a fact for you. I can jump 25 times in a row.
And you can tell that person is very
That
drunk.
person is, because I have...
That drunk mind state where you're... That's like
out
someone...
of 10. What do you think that is? That's at least a 6 or 7.
Yeah, I was going to say 7. I think it's a 7.
Because like I've heard way worse than that, but that's feeling pretty saucy.
That's, that person literally heard fact, and they were like, drunk brain, one fact about me, one quick one. I can jump 25 times in a row.
Right.
And I think a lot of people can jump 25 times in a row.
Should we jump 25 times in a row?
I'm not going to do it right now. We can do it after because I'm curious. But if we're talking like more hop than I don't know.
What is defined as a jump? Are we talking like a Jordan jump? Like, are we talking like you are like jumping all the way up in the air with all your might?
I would consider it like jumping jacks without moving your legs, like that type of leap.
The same type of energy.
Yeah, like that type of like a 2 feet off the ground. I don't know. Foot, 2 feet.
So scientific. We need to get some lab coats for this. We need to get some guys to come in here and jump.
It's hard to tell.
Here's the thing. How am I supposed to know that 25 is an impressive number of jumps? Because like, what if the dude just comes up, starts doing like calf hops with me? Like, that's not a jump. Like, I think we need to get at least, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out 3 quick numbers here. 65, 43, or 79 dudes all together. We see how high they can jump. We average out the height of their jump based off of how many times we can jump. And from those numbers, we will find out if 25 is in fact a accurately high, impressive number that you can jump to.
But see, what you're going to get if you do a focus group is everyone's going to think it's something more important, so you're going to lead with like real good jumps, and then that's going to wear you out. I think we need to really state we just want an average. You don't have to, because if someone else jump 10 times right now, I'm going to give it my hardest. Yeah, and I think I could do 10 good jumps. 25 is the point where towards the tail end of that, you're going to be like, the jumps are getting a little lackluster.
Sir, if you're listening to this show, call us in with what constitutes as a good jump, because dear God, we got to get the science down on this, because I want to know if I should be impressed by this guy or not personally.
I mean, based off of how drunk he was, I'm a little impressed.
Also, could he do the 25 jumps drunk? That's going to have to be another controlled jump.
If I'm drunk, I could do more than 25 jumps.
See, I feel like drinking turns us into the Hulk in a way where it's like we just get superpowers from being drunk.
I once said out loud to a group of people that jumping is one of the most fun things you can do with your body, and I still stand behind that statement, because I love to jump.
I mean, I saw how high you and young Kurt were jumping at the Pew 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 show. That was those were some astronomically high jumps. I'm in fact terrified to go against you on the court this summer in the Dapper Dad Shirts vs. Skins League.
It's only in that sweet spot. Like, it's mainly at shows, because I get it in my head where I'm like jumping at a show and I'm like, see how high you can jump, and that's like basically what I can do. And for some reason, that's the only time where I'm like, do that jump when you're drunk and you're full of adrenaline and you've been pushing people.
How high can I jump?
Picture how high I up. How high I up.
Well, I'm just thinking like, okay, I'm a big man, so I'm thinking like, because when I saw you jumping with Kurt at the show, you got at least a good 2-3 feet off the ground.
Oh yeah.
So we're talking like 9 feet up in the air for me. We got to make sure any venue I'm jumping at has at least a 10-foot
we got to
ceiling.
get a clearance.
Yeah.
It's like we're driving semis.
In my house, I feel like I could jump that high. In your house, I don't know if I could jump that high.
Oh yeah, my house has some low ceilings in certain parts. I've hit my head jumping in my house. One time, I don't think I've ever told this story, possibly one of my greatest stories ever, and I always forget and it comes up. One time when I was with one of my ex-girlfriends, I was really on a Walker Texas Ranger kick. I'd been watching it for like a couple months straight and really getting into it. There's a lot of beautiful jumps in that show. So my ex knew I was really into it and I was really into jumping. She was around when I made the statement that jumping is one of the best things you can do with your body. And so I'd gotten out of the shower and I was going into our bedroom and I was going to jump through the door naked with like a kick. So like leg extended out, like kind of like a Mortal Kombat kick.
Okay.
So I got a little running start, just a light one, went to jump into the door because she was in there and I was going to surprise her naked, jumping in, hit my head on the door frame because it's low and I'm a taller
had a nickel,
person.
my friend.
So I jumped naked, hit my head, it levels me, so I fall to the ground naked. Did not lose consciousness, but that's what we discussed immediately after. Like, imagine if I knocked myself out and she had to like
take you naked to the hospital,
or like call an ambulance or something.
Call the ambulance. My boyfriend just tried to Mortal Kombat kick me through the door and he's unconscious.
Tried to Walker Texas Ranger himself.
Did you have a really nice forehead bruise after that?
No, but I felt like I've taken some serious hits to the head, usually the back more so. But yeah, that was like that front forehead shit.
The hardest hit to the head I ever took, I was going downhill on a bike path and the chain snapped.
I thought you were gonna say I was going down on someone.
I wish.
And I just aggressively went down.
I wish my worst head injury came
I had a bad head injury, but I shattered her pelvis.
I wish my worst head injury came from mouth sex. This came from a faulty bike chain and it snapped. I flipped over because like the brakes halted it. You know, the whole bike just stopped. Flipped over like this, landed on my head, bounced, hit it again, and then laid on the ground. And then the worst thing about it is this is one of the few definitive times in my life, and I can 100% testify that I did get a concussion. Because what I found odd, first of all, I grew up in a small town. Nobody stopped to make sure I was okay, because what I did was I rolled over into the grass on the bike path, and I looked up, and I was like, those are a lot of pretty clouds. And I like blinked and I opened and it was dark outside. Yeah. And I was like, oh boy, that's a concussion. And this was back in the day where you couldn't get a hold of somebody at home if they were on the internet. And I did not, because we're old as shit. And I did not have a cell phone because I'm old as shit. Yep. And so I was right by my high school, and there was like a theater group for my high school, and they were like working on a play, and I was like, I hit my head really bad like 4 hours ago. Can I try to call my mom and go home? And I tried like calling her. And it's like, I don't know what she was doing. I don't know if she was like just really intensely playing Spider Solitaire online or something. But like, I didn't get a hold of her until like 9 o'clock. And I was like, I need you to come to the high school and get me because I'm pretty sure I have a concussion. And then like she was like, oh my God, we need to go to the hospital. I was like, well, for what it's worth, I already fell asleep. So anything that's going to happen to me, it's already going to happen to me. There's nothing the doctor's going to be able to do about it. And I remember like it was the weirdest thing because I didn't laugh at anything for like 3 days. Like I didn't think anything was funny. I was really this is the thing. I was really depressed, and then I looked into it, and one of the symptoms of whiplash or like a concussion is depression. Mm-hmm. And like because I remember when as a kid I used to watch the Conan O'Brien show every single night. Like that was my thing. Like it'd be really late. I'd be up and I'd beg my mom, I just want to stay up and watch Conan. So I'd like get my snacks and I'd watch Conan, and I would just laugh my ass off because he was the funniest thing in the world. I'd suffer through Jay Leno so I could watch Conan O'Brien, and I like didn't laugh for like 2 days, and I had like a shitty journal as a teenager, and I'm like, nothing's funny anymore. I think I broke something. And I found this like years later when I was like moving out and like cleaning, and I found I was like, I feel like I broke something inside myself. Nothing's funny anymore. Am I always going to be like this? Like it was like an awful emo diary entry. And, oh man, it was. I still have a weird lump in the back of my head. Like, have you noticed? Like when I'm sure you've seen it before.
Have you noticed when you were holding the back of my head?
Yeah, have you noticed?
Well, when was I holding the back of your head?
I mean, I'm sure you noticed when you were the big spoon that one time.
Yeah, I have a great story where I'm pretty sure I also got a concussion. I went to, in Madison, a house party. There's a show in the basement. It was right before Halloween. So we all dressed up as zombies with fake blood.
I vaguely remember seeing a picture.
Oh, yeah,
from
there's
this.
some wild pictures.
Didn't the Brain Dead Gang play at this party? Yeah, okay.
And so, yeah, immediately after that, I like went outside to smoke a cigarette because it was very hot in there. And it was like an apartment complex. And it's hard to explain, but when you go out of the guy's back door, it's raised up about like 6 feet off of the ground. And at the edge of what would be like his lawn, essentially, was one of those fences where it's just like two pieces of wood, like 2x4s, and then 2 other pieces of wood.
Yeah.
So like those old, like my grandma has that fence, those old, and they're always old as dirt and so shitty.
Falling apart and everything.
So I was
dilapidated.
Matt, the guide, was standing out there right by the fence. So I literally did not sit on the fence. I leaned up against it, not even a real lean. And I like lit a cigarette and I lean up against it. And then I feel it wobble and then I fall, but I fall like right after the fence. There's like a piece, like just some foundation. And I landed there and I was like, sweet. And then I seen Matt like running to grab me and then I slipped and I fell. And it's like 6 feet down, the back of my head directly onto concrete. And I like jumped up because there's a ton of people outside and I didn't want to look like an asshole. I went to put my hat back on and as soon as it touched my head, it hurt like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And I felt it and like we're covered in fake blood. And I'm like, I don't know if this is fake blood or real blood because there's like wetness, but I have fake blood all over me too. Yeah. And then everyone was like, that was crazy. Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, let's just drink through it, which is genius.
Normal.
So then we went back in. And the night, like becomes a blur. I'm like double fisting. I'm like, just drink until the pain goes away, which it did.
Yeah.
And then, like, the cops came and cut the power to the party because it was too loud and all this shit was going on. And I drank so much, I started to feel sick. So I run to the bathroom and I'm like kneeling in front of the toilet and I'm like about to throw up. And another strange random man comes in and kneels down next to me. And he looks over at me and he goes, you ready for this? And then he just starts puking all over the toilet. And he finishes and I push him and I puke in the toilet. And then I finish and he pushes me. And we're just trading off puking in this toilet together. My sister's standing behind me. My friends are all around me and they're just like, Jesus Christ. And me and that guy are like, this is crazy. And then I'm like taking a break and he's puking and there's so much gross shit in the toilet.
If only we could share such a beautiful, intimate moment together in 2018.
Never saw that man again, but I'll never forget him.
Damn right.
And then I go out and I'm like, I don't feel good. I don't think I'm throwing up from the liquor. I think I'm throwing up from the head injury. And they had to, 2 of my friends had to like carry me out essentially, like arms around them. And we're walking down the hallway and it's got like the overhead lights like a hospital and they're like flickering. And I'm like, what is going on? And they put me in the car and then I can snitch. Someone drove the car. And I'm like blacking out and then waking up and throwing up out the window on the highway with the cold face because we're going like 60. And then whoever was driving, and then we stopped at a gas station. I had to steal water because I had no cash on me. And I was like, I'll never be back at this gas station. I've been back at that gas station like 12 times now. And everyone always looks at me and I get real nervous. And then, it was like this long ride home, and everyone's like, don't fall asleep. But I'd been like fading in and out of consciousness.
Yeah, it's
forever.
like, what are you going to do at that point?
And then finally, we get home at like 5 a.m. My sister had called my parents to come and like just investigate me. And I showed up and I was like, I want to go to bed. And they're like, you should stay up a little bit longer. And my dad was like, I'll buy you McDonald's breakfast. And I was like, fine. So I went and got McDonald's breakfast. And then I was like watching the sun go up. And I was like, can I go to sleep? And they were like, I guess so. I don't know like what you're supposed to do. And I was like, I'm fine. And I really was not fine.
No, I was not fine either. But it was like, at that point, it was like, what are you gonna
The
do?
damage is done.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you can't unbreak the plate. Like
yeah.
the plate.
Like, I hope I wake up, but
Yeah, like I remember I kept falling asleep because my mom was like, "Oh, we should really take you to the hospital, make sure everything's okay." And it's like, Mom, if I was gonna die, I would have died in those 4 hours. I was passed out. You know, like it would have already happened.
Yeah, and that's when I stopped being smart.
Yeah, and then that's when I stopped having that long term.
What's it called?
I like stories.
Speaking of stories, we want to get into the other concussions are crazy. Do we want to get into that other submission, Slim?
I think that would be fantastic drama. Let's go ahead and do the mama.
Warm showers are cool.
Yeah, baths are better. They feel like a hug.
A hug where you got to decide half of your body to stay out of the water because you're too big for tubs.
Literally, I was taking a bath today because my house was freezing, and so I just ran a hot bath. I figured out the perfect move to get my whole body underneath the water. I have to take my legs, fold them up underneath me like this, then lay down in the tub, like snuggle myself in, and then my head can stick out.
Then but do you struggle to get out then?
No, because I have to
You roll over in the tub.
Yeah, I have to use the water to like push me up so I can like slide my legs out from underneath me.
I would rather have a sex video or like a video of me masturbating leak
than a video of me trying to get out of a bath.
Me even just being in the bath.
Oh God.
Or just struggling to get out. Or a video of me wiping my ass.
I would rather
have those.
I would rather have a video of my asshole balls dick combination be on the internet for everyone and my mother to see than have a video of me in a tub either trying to maneuver myself in a tub, bathe myself in a tub, or try to get out of a tub.
Yeah, that and wiping my ass. I'm like, these are things that only I should ever see.
Because I mean, okay, I'm not like I've seen people take shits before. Like I've been comfortable enough with girlfriends where they're like, I'm taking a shower and they're using the bathroom.
I've never been that comfortable. Man, I refuse to be that comfortable.
Here's the thing: I wasn't that comfortable. I actually used to have a terrible fear of shitting in public, where I could have to take the biggest shit. Think about we talked about this, the worst time you've ever had to shit. Yeah. Picture that time, but like I would not be able to shit because I would hear like people like talking in the bathroom and like laughing.
My body just like if I have to shit, my body knows like we're not shitting in public. We'll save this for home.
Oh no! After I got sick and like had a tube shoved in my dick, I was like, I don't have any shame anymore. What are you gonna? Shit's piss, piss. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Like man, and it's actually it's like I don't feel like it's gross because I'm not like gross about it, but like public bathroom and body stuff just doesn't bother me. Like when people
I have a shy bladder in general. I don't even like pissing.
Well, like I've had girlfriends be like, I don't know, it's weird. I'm like, well, you do it all the time, and I got to take a shower before I go to work. So you either got to decide if you want to shit here or at work because I'm taking a shower.
I don't care knowing that girlfriend shit. I just don't want to be there. You just can't break that level. Do you?
Yeah, you can break it, but you almost have to die, and you have to have a tube shoved in your dick.
Well, yeah, one day
there is a trade-off.
Do you wipe your ass sitting down or standing up?
What?
See, this is if you ever want to talk to someone about something crazy, everyone thinks they're wiping their ass the only way that people wipe their ass.
I mean, I sit down. Like, doesn't
I stand up?
How do you?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you stand up and?
I can't. How do you sit down and wipe your ass?
Because.
This is not weird. Like,
no,
it's split. Yeah, you think it's weird. I think it's weird.
I don't think it's weird. I just want to know. I just want to understand the mechanics of it.
I just stand up and wipe my ass.
But like, okay, I don't want to get too into this. But like,
this is why I don't want a video of it. Because
if you're sitting down,
mine's more.
I'm just gonna be if you're sitting down, your shit's spread enough so you can get access to it. I feel like if you're standing up, you're missing like. Folds and
that's what people tend to mention to me.
So okay, what I'm gonna need you to do with that I'm gonna need you to stand there and like show me how you do it because I don't know how you're gonna
just stand up and wipe your ass.
How?
There's nothing to you just wipe it, man.
Like okay, now when we talk like
I've thought about this for a while.
Now when we talk like a stand, are we talking like a this or
no?
Like
I'm like standing up. Yeah. Then I'm wiping my ass. Like right now, you would just wipe your ass. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Watch the video.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have my hand out, and I'm not making a show of it.
If you wipe your ass, like, what?
Comment, submit.
No,
there's people.
Let us know
there's
how
people
you wipe
who
your
are
ass.
listening and watching, and they're like, "Yeah, I stand up and wipe my ass." And there's people who think I'm crazy. It's very split.
No, I have never, and like I said, I've seen people. I've never in my life seen someone stand up and wipe their ass.
One of my exes, I didn't think it was weird. I thought everybody stood up and wiped their ass, and then I mentioned it to my ex one time, something like I was standing up wiping my ass and she's like, you were doing what? And had the same thing as you do.
I just don't understand how you do it.
I know. I don't get how you maneuver to wipe your ass sitting down in the front.
In between. No, I don't wipe back to front, but like you reach through the front.
It's all dick and balls.
Is
up
your
there.
dick too big that you can't get your hand
that's the
between your
case,
legs?
because I don't know where there's room in there.
Now here's where I've always seen divided, because because people are like front to back or back to front. Like you always do front to back. That's just a smart way to do it. Because then what are you gonna do?
Just pushing it on your balls.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Wipe your shit up onto your balls like a disgusting piece
I'm
of
wiping
shit?
front to back as well. I'm just standing up. There's no front space, and I don't know what I got going on. Maybe I think I have huge balls.
No,
I don't know.
That ain't right.
Huge dick, huge balls.
I
There's
mean,
no
I've never
space in there.
I've never seen your dick and balls, but I've seen you like
want
in
to?
tight. I mean, sure.
Watch the video. This is
watch
getting
the video.
very
Dick and
intense.
balls, everybody.
It's
but
just
I mean,
my
like,
dick and balls and you motioning, wiping your ass.
I've
standing
seen
up.
you like in tight pants, and I mean, like, I just don't understand how. Like,
I don't like where that was going
What
at all.
angle do you sit? Like, do you sit on a toilet or do you like sit on the edge like this?
No,
like,
I sit like back against the back. I sit.
I've got more questions than
I
answers.
sit straddling the back so you can fold your arms on the tank. Is that not?
Oh,
how
so you
everyone
can
shits?
have like
a
so you
desk,
can have like a book
workspace.
there,
Yeah.
like a nice shit beer to go with it.
Shit beer, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have your shit beer in your shower.
Yeah,
beer.
bring all your drinks into the bathroom while you shit, because there's particles in that air. Yeah, I love. Yeah, could you imagine shitting like that? I want to try it.
I've tried it. It's weird.
I feel like my knees would hit the back wall,
See,
and I don't like that area behind the toilet. It's the most
it's so
disgusting.
dirty
because
everyone pisses there.
Yeah. I picture you just pissing behind your toilet. We just learn a lot about each other. I'm wiping my ass standing up. You're just pissing behind the toilet.
Where do you piss in the toilet? Because
Yeah, in the toilet. I put some Apple Jacks in the toilet so
shit,
I can aim and.
No, shit goes in the bowl. Piss goes in the tank.
You ever done a double decker? I have.
What's a double decker?
When you shit in the tank, so when they flush, it's just shit water.
I've done
or
pee, but I've never
Yeah.
done the shit. So I've done a double decker with piss. I've never done a double decker with shit.
I've done both.
You've done a double decker with
Yeah.
shit? Oh man.
Do you really want to hear the story?
Yes,
I did it
yes,
at a
I do.
Taco Bell that made me very angry. That might be one of the most ridiculous things I've released.
So
on
what
this
did you do?
podcast.
Did you just take the tank off the back and like squat over the top of it?
Yeah,
And
you
then
just-
stood up and wiped your ass like an animal?
I need you to calm down.
I'm just confused.
You just take the top of the lid of the tank off,
And then you squat
then you-
over that.
Yeah, you put your feet on the toilet seat.
Yeah.
and then you like hover. Don't
It's like
put your ass.
it's like
in there.
it's like a second level toilet.
It's a double decker. It's like a houseboat.
It's like those funny buses they got in London. It's a
You
double
shit on
decker.
the top of those too.
Are you not supposed to? I thought that was the
I
custom.
thought that's what we paid for.
I saw one. I saw one guy. We're never going to be allowed to do Dapper Dads do London.
Yeah, we can't have a
They're going to
tour
be like,
bus.
"Oh, we've heard about you boys. Off, you're in the bottom now."
Yeah, but yeah, so that was great. I have a list of things if we ever hit a wall on my phone, which I no longer have because it's doing that. But one of them was wiping your ass because I knew at one point this would come up, and I was
This is
hoping.
so
I'm
confusing
glad
to
that this
me.
is one of the times because we're pretty like on the same page with a lot of things.
With pretty much everything.
So it makes
yeah.
it harder to have these really funny conversations. I'm glad this was one of them.
I'm just so confused about the mechanics of the
I don't know.
situation.
You want to do a dry run sometime?
Yes.
Like the episode of Seinfeld where Kramer doesn't know how to effectively shower, and he's like, "Can I get a dry run? Like just water in like a bathing suit." So you'll be in a
How we-
bathing suit, pretending to wipe your ass from the front, and mine's just stand. I don't know. There's nothing to mine. I don't get. You got big hands too, and probably a decent sized hog. How are you getting your hand in there?
You're giving me so many compliments on this show. You're a great cook. You got a decent sized hog, probably.
Big hands.
Big hands, decent sized hog. That's the best compliment you can give a man. Man, you got big hands and a decent sized hog. Thank you.
That's all you can hope for.
Oh my God. I wish my friend. Oh my God. I'm just going to do that this week. I'm just going to go out to my guy friends and be like, man, you got big hands and a decent sized hog. They're going to be like, thank you.
You gotta say probably.
You probably
You don't
got
want
a
to
decent-
insinuate that you've seen it.
Oh, I'll insinuate. Whatever. Fuck it. It's
I
just
saw
a
the
dick.
photos. Yeah, so please submit.
How do you wipe your ass, everybody? Because this is apparently something we have to talk about
So
as
he
a
split.
society.
Joe Rogan, I was listening to his podcast recently. He stands up and wipes his ass.
How?
He's a genius.
I
So
just want to see how. Not that I want to see you wiping your ass, but
you
is
can
there
probably
like,
find a video online
is there like
of someone legitimately
a
wiping their ass.
is there like a wiki info thing where it shows
There's
like
probably
the
some
diagram
information
of?
out there.
We're gonna have to look into this after
just,
the show.
It's just standing up and wiping. There's really nothing to it. But yeah, please comment. You can do, again, anonymous submissions at thedapperdads.com. Just comment, go in there, submit, stand up, sit down. That's all we need. I want to get a good
I want a
basis. We
poll.
need 10 at least.
You know what? We're gonna make a poll on Facebook for this.
Like, we can't do polls for some reason.
What? We can't do polls.
Not on the page. It's
We're
weird.
a page. Why can't we do polls?
I know it's stupid, but yeah, just submit in any of the forms. We don't know who you are, so fuck it. Tell us. Sit down, stand up.
There's no judgment here. Everybody poops.
No.
Girls poop too.
Yeah, and we're split. So
Yeah.
either way you do it, one of us is gonna.
One
be
of us
like,
is gonna.
"Hell yeah."
One of us is gonna be like, hell yeah, that person's on the right side of history.
So yeah, stand up, sit down. Please get those submissions. I'd like to get a good.
Lord.
We got it. We got to know this is the first thing that we have to like get a break on. We got to have a good split. All right, do we want to get into that submission?
I don't even know if I want to. I'm so mad and upset by it now. So mad and upset by everything.
Everybody
You have the
poops.
submission technically, don't you?
Yeah, the internet's fucking weird. Can you just pull it up on the voice thing? We got a text. There's a cat.
There's
somewhere.
also a cat somewhere. This dungeon is full of. Oh, so I drove by the dungeon earlier when I was helping a friend out. I was helping them move today, and they I was like, oh, I record there, and they were like, there. I was like, yep, that's the dungeon. Now you are.
Can't. And you killed him? You
No,
can't.
well, I told them they're no longer part of the contest. Where if you find the dungeon, we blow you.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I
contest.
totally forgot about that contest.
Maybe if you stop bringing it up, it just will disappear.
Nah, that's not
Kind
how.
of like you want to suck a dick.
It's not how trauma works, drama.
If I
Okay.
had a nickel.
So, we know who you are in this submission because
I technically don't know you.
well, now that
I know of you.
now that we've synced both of our contacts up into this, we
I
did
don't get
everybody.
that.
Really?
Yeah,
I get
get
mine. Yeah. So this
You probably don't get mine.
this was actually the person I helped out today. So shout out to
oh,
them.
nice.
So they texted us and they said, topic, what is the most random / funny moment you remember of when you were kids? As an example, I'm going to share my favorite video of all time. P.S. Love you guys. So thank you very much
Thank
for the
you.
love.
We love you too. The video that is attached is a video of a small child on the toilet crying because Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday.
Yes, which we
And
all, which we all are want to do.
I can relate to being on a toilet crying because Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays.
Been
So
there.
if I had a nickel for every time I've been like, oh, I'd love a number 2 spicy deluxe, and it's a fucking Sun. I've driven to Chick-fil-A's
Forgetting
and been
that
like,
it's Sunday.
fuck. That's why Tay-K killed someone in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru because it was Sunday.
Because it was Sunday.
But yeah, so funny childhood stories. When I got this submission, it came through like early on in the weekend, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'll get to that. And then I got later in the week, and I think it was yesterday. I was like, I was really hoping a funny childhood memory would come
Yeah,
to
I was
me.
hoping I could
And
think
then I
of
was
something.
sitting there thinking of them, and I'm like, God, there's a lot of shit in this mind. Where's the funny one? It's like I'm just scrambling through like a filing cabinet. And it's
You're
like,
just like,
trauma, sad, bad, terrible.
Sad, bad, trauma, terrible, fun, but followed by trauma.
Yeah.
Because there was a
Fun,
whole.
but it was just, it's like fun from like the last 5 years. And I'm like, no, something earlier, different drawer. And it's just all fuckery. And I'm like, there's got to be something in here.
No fun from. No, we're talking fun from like 91 to 2002. There's got to be something in here. No, I'll just go ahead and kick it off then. I couldn't exactly specifically think of a moment, but a very, very great day from when I was a kid was, I remember, so at this point in my life, a habit I ended up picking. Wow, that was a good one. That was a juicy one. One of the habits I picked up from my father inadvertently as an adult is that I move around quite a bit. The place that I'm at right now is stable. And hopefully will stay stable for a
I'm
while.
going to burn it to the ground. So.
I will also burn yours to the ground, so we are both left with nothing. Anything you do, remember? Well, we made that agreement where we're like, anything you do, I am also down for. Anything you do to me, I will also do back to you.
I'm going to love you unconditionally.
I'm gonna love you until my heart blows up, bitch. But I remember at this point in my life, my dad had an apartment behind the McChesney Park Mall, topical. And he rented the room from a woman.
I was going to say something I did in that parking lot that I shouldn't say.
Same. I've done some things in the McChesney Park Mall parking lot.
Yeah, after it was like not a mall anymore.
Yeah, I actually learned to drive back there. I learned to drive stick shift because it
Oh,
was
I learned to drive back there.
but we so he lived in the apartment back there, and so what we would do is every Saturday he would come pick me up from my mom's house. We would go to Schnucks and get some of the big deli sandwiches, and I'd get like 2 or 3 monsters, and then we'd go to the video store and rent a couple of good horror movies, and then we'd go back to his apartment and just eat a bunch of shitty food and watch horror movies till like 2-3 in the morning when
This
he would
is my
finally take
current
me.
life.
I know it's also my current life, but it was just at the time it was just like really, really great because
I've
it's
realized
like,
everything I want to do, like at my current stage in life, is all the things that made me happy as a kid.
what
I'm
they
gonna
do.
start skating again. I want
Yeah.
a drum set. I'm
Yeah.
like, these are, and I still go to a lot of shows and like
Mhm.
absorb myself in music. And I'm like, oh, it's all the things I used to escape as a child, and
It's
now I
just
love
now
them
my
as an adult.
it's just now my tastes have grown and I have
Yeah.
the money to pay for these.
yeah,
things.
and I can do them without like running away from my problems.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I can go home to my stable home full of
Yeah.
happiness after this. I don't have to go to a punk show and be happy and then come home to my shithole life. I can go out, have
is
fun,
nice, yeah.
reasonably spend money to have a good
Yeah.
time, and then come back and then keep enjoying my life,
Yep.
But at the time it's like I think I was like 13, 14 years old. Like it was just that peak moment when you're when you're just a young teenager and it's like you're just running around doing crazy shit, you got no responsibilities, and it's like I remember every weekend we would pretty much do the same thing because he was broke. So it was just like get a lot of shitty food at the store we could eat for cheap and then just like watch movies that we rented, but it's still like something fun from my childhood that I specifically remember thinking like this is something I want to do, this is what I look forward to doing,
Mine, I was trying to think of like a good funny one, and like one of the best ones I have after thinking through it. One of the great things about my dad, even though like we've commented, there's a lot of bullshit and I don't talk to
Yeah.
him anymore. But one
Same.
thing that you always got to do is there is good memories. I hate when people are like, it was all shit with
No,
whoever in your life. It's like you got to look back and
there
like,
was
still, like,
some good
there
memories.
might not be a ton, but there still are good things.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like I just talked about mine, like same boat. I don't
Yeah.
really talk to mine anymore,
Yeah.
but like I can still look back and be like, here's sometimes where he
Yeah.
really pulled through and he was a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like no one's well, people are completely evil. Some people like
I don't want to
I don't want to. Anyway, watch the video.
watch the video, folks.
So one great thing about my dad is he's very into like practical jokes and shit,
Mhm.
and that's where I get it from. And I have like a bunch of great stories about him. But one of the funniest things I thought of was his dad had, it's very hard to explain, but it was like a frog's head that was made out of ropes. Dark
Okay.
brown like ropes all intertwined with these big eyes. It's a very weird, creepy thing, and it's about like foot to 2 feet tall.
Just the head.
Yeah, I think it was just the head.
So like a dead mouse head, but like a frog.
Yeah, but it was like,
And it was made out of ropes.
yeah, so it was very thin.
Well,
it was something
Were
you
the
would just-
eyes also ropes?
No, those were like big plastic eyes.
Okay.
So I've never seen anything like it. It's like one of those things,
Like a
one of
folk
those,
art thing that you get at like a flea
one of
market.
those like family heirlooms where you're like, who even was like, oh, you know what? I need a big rope frog head.
Well,
with
when
plastic
when
eyes."
Grandpa was away fighting the Krauts in World War I, Grandma didn't had too much free time on her hand as she wasn't, manly enough to work farm tools. So great grandma sewed together this lovely bullfrog head for us to pass down through the generations, and now it is passed on to you.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing. I wish I had a picture of it. I'll have to try to find something.
Because the
that's
mental
even-
picture is horrific.
Yeah, it was very.
In my head, I'm seeing like a makeshift Slipknot mask.
Yeah, it was very weird and difficult to explain, but he found it at some point and we were both like, this is really creepy and weird. So what immediately happened was we would take turns putting it in places where the other person would find it and trying to make it be like scary or funny. So a lot of like cupboards or things where you would open it and it would be the frog's head. So this went back and forth for like a month or two. And I had it, he had put it in my room. And I'm like in my room, I was probably like 12 or 13 playing video games. And him and my mom were in their bedroom watching a movie, and there was some pie my mom had made. I think it was like a Oreo pie, something like that. Nice like homemade crust, everything. And he came to my room and he was like, "Do you want a piece of the pie? I think there's only 2 left." And I was like, "No, I'm good." And then he goes down there, and I happen to look over at the frog, and I was like, I should put this somewhere when he's coming back up, because the way my house was set up was right outside of my bedroom door. It was like my parents' room on the left down the hall, my room, another bedroom, and then the bathroom. So mine is right in the middle. There's a light right up there that lights up the whole hallway and the stairs. So I'm like, I'm going to hang it from the light. But then I was like, I want to turn the light off so it like startles them. And I'm like frantically, it's one of those things where you don't think it through and you're like, oh God, he's going to be coming. And I like couldn't hang it from the light because the light was just one of those like weird ones and there wasn't like a spot to hang it. So I'm like, I'll just rest it on like the top 2 stairs and he'll see it, but I'll turn the light off so it'll still startle him. But I think
I
he'll see
feel
it.
like I know where this is going.
I feel like everyone does. So I go back in my room, and it's one of those things. I still have this when I'm like, I love to wait to scare people. I've waited like an hour to scare someone, like under a table or something, because my dad would do that shit, like stand behind a door, and then when you come through, he'd be like, whoa, and it's I still do that to this
No,
day.
mine, I got some good ones when you're done with this.
Yeah, and I have other ones of him pranking that are fucking hilarious. So I'm like in my room when you're just like anxiously waiting, and you're like, come on with the pie. So I'm waiting, and then I hear him coming up the stairs, and then I just hear it like, boom, and I was like, what the fuck? And then it was one of those things where you're like, I don't want to go out there, and he's like, what the fuck? My dad was a very irrationally angry man, so I was like, oh no, I've instantly done something that's regrettable.
Right,
and he's
yeah.
gonna scream at me forever. And then I hear him like, God damn it. And he's like, what the fuck is the fucking frog? And then I was just sitting there like, oh, this didn't go the way I was hoping. Like so many, when you do something and it goes completely
Horribly
different, and you're like,
wrong.
this worked out better in my head. And then he just knocks on my door, and then he opens it, and he's like, hey, did you put that frog on the stairs? And I was like, yeah, I was trying to scare you. And he's like, one of the few times in my life where he didn't get mad. I don't know if he respected the
level of
yeah.
pranking.
And he's like, come out here. And I walk out there. What had happened was he decided to get both pieces of pie. I think one was for my mom. So he has no free hands. What he did was just come up the stairs, probably. And it ended up being that I felt bad. That's one of the few times I felt bad for this man. Because you could tell after we talked about it, he really was looking forward to that pie.
Oh, and
Last
you
two
know, because
pieces.
you know how
Oh,
that
yeah,
feels.
I know. And what had happened was he walked up, tripped on it, and to catch himself, he turned his hands with the pie and put them against the wall and caught himself. So I come out of my room, and there's just two smushed pieces of pie against the wall, like he was being frisked by a police officer. And then there's pie on the ground and like two plates, and he just was looking at the pie like a child that watched its puppy die. And he was like, I'm going to need you to clean this up. And I was like, I will clean this up. Like, I'm sorry. This went better in my head. And I just watched him shuffle to his room and like continue pileless to watch that movie. And I had to clean it up. And it's still very fun. I wish I could have seen it, because all the times where I'm like, I hate that fucking guy. I'm like, I wish I could see the pie. But I just can still see it in my head. Like when you create the memory of just him like, pooh, two pieces of pie sliding down the wall and just the despair.
The best prank, well, one of the best pranks my dad ever played on me. This is like you, I got a couple in my head. One of the best pranks that ever backfired on us was we got some fake puke and we put it on my mom's pillow because we were gonna be like, "Oh, the cat threw up on your pillow."
Yeah, you've said that one on here before.
Have I?
Yeah.
God, I'm starting. This is it, folks. Time to shut it down.
Yeah.
Did I talk about the werewolf mask?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite. This is one of those memories as a kid you can just vividly see when you close your eyes. You know.
Yeah.
So we went to Kmart, and he bought a werewolf mask for Halloween, and it was one of those like hyper realistic ones where it looks like bloody and the teeth are like shiny and stuff. And he bought it, and here's what gets me about this whole thing is he bought it in front of me, got it in the car, put it on in front of me, and was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Oh, that's scary, Dad." I was like, couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 at the time, very, very young. And so to understand the rest of the frame of reference with this story, the house we lived in, there's the living room here. The living room had a sofa, and then there was a radiator adjacent to it, and above the radiator was the window looking outside into our yard. So my mom, my younger sister, and I were sitting on the couch in the living room, and she was like reading us a story. We were just kids, and I heard like at the window, I heard like tapping and scratching. So me, you know, I've always been, I don't know how you want to put it, annoying. But I got up and I was like, "What is that? I'm going to see what that is." And I went over the window, and the son of a bitch, he told me about it later. He waited until I got like this close to the window and my nose was right up against it. So when I was squinting outside and I was like, "What is that out there? I see something." And he came up and he smashed right against the window with the mask on, and he even put like a big flannel on underneath it so he looked like the wolf man. And he laughs his ass off every time I've heard him tell this story. He's like, "Oh, you just turned whiter in a sheet and jumped 14 feet in the air like you just grabbed onto an electrical box. You were just and just jump back." And this is what he lived for. He lived for just scaring the shit out of me because I scared so easy as a kid.
Yeah.
And he came back in the house and started doing the dishes because he was like, "Oh, gonna go take the trash out." And then he did that.
Yeah.
And then he comes back in and I was like, "Why did you do that to me? I saw you do that." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "You put that mask on you bought with me earlier and you jumped at the window at me." And he goes, I saw something out in the alley when I was taking the trash out. I chased it down out of the alley. It looked like a big old dog. I chased it away, though, man. He looked real scared when he was running off. And so in my 5-year-old brain, I'm like,
Oh, he's still out there.
I was like, what if it was a wolf, man? And my dad's not lying to me, even though he's still wearing the same damn flannel shirt. But in my mind, I'm like, well, because as a kid, you're like, my dad wouldn't lie to me about that. What if there is a wolf man out there?
And then you find out everything's lies.
Yeah, then he turned out everything in life is a lie.
I have 3 quick ones.
3 quick ones.
3 quick ones that my dad did that were pranks that were great. One, when I was very young, we had like a very unfinished basement in a very old house. So it had like a height of just like ground, and it was basically like paths you could get to like our washer and dryer. And then there was a big room that he laid the concrete on the floor of, which, side note, when he was laying the concrete, he didn't wear knee pads, and he put his knees in concrete while he was finishing the floor and got extremely bad chemical burns on his knees. Not the brightest crayon in the box. But that room,
few fries short of a Happy Meal.
That room was where he like had his drums, and we had like workout equipment that no one used and shit. And it had like this very old like horror movie-esque door where it was just like the slats of wood, and he would like close it and then lock it. And so I was like 5. I vaguely can see it in my head, but I know the story front to back from because he would tell it and crack up.
Yeah.
But what he did was went downstairs and cut the power. So it's me, my sister, and my mom. And it wasn't like night, but it was like a little dark out.
Dusk.
And my mom, for some reason, she's not fond of pranks or being scared. Like, typically, he would scare her, and she'd go, "God damn it, Bob!"
Oh, my God. Every time I was growing up and I had your "God damn it, Bill," followed by
Yeah.
with some comical laugh behind. "God damn it, Bill.
Yeah.
Shut up, Bill."
So she, for some reason, was in on this. And so we go down there. I think I even had like a stuffed animal because my basement was creepy until I moved out.
Everybody's basement is creepy as a kid.
Those old ones, like now I go to people's house and they're like, "Nice remodeled finished basement."
Bro,
and I'm like,
my house
was the portal to
mine
hell.
was 100 years old that had one of those boiling furnaces in the back that sounded like a monster when it started up.
Our washer and dryer was on it was like a dirt floor, so there was a piece of wood, like a big like platform of wood, and when I think they moved out or something happened, the basement would flood. They had to tear up the wood, and my dad, and I was like an adult at this point, my dad was like, "I'm fairly certain there's a portal to hell under that platform of wood. I don't even want to tear it up, but we have to." And so we
Did he find a porthole to hell?
I don't think so, but I mean, he's from hell, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, true.
He's like, "I'm just going to visit the family."
Like,
leaps
yeah,
into a hole in the basement.
Just a back door, just pulls open a mystical hatch. It sounds like
He's like sweating and eating a cheeseburger. He's like, "Hell's not that bad."
That's really not that bad. It's just uncomfortable.
So we go down. My mom's like, "I got to turn the power on. You guys come with me." So we go down there and the door's open. So we go back in the corner and she's like going to the electrical box. What he had done was rigged up a piece of string to the door. So when we got to the corner, he pulled it and the door closed. And I think he had like a flashlight and like we have like this weird mask in my family forever. And he was just like,
weird masks in your family.
And me and my sister are just screaming. And he the door thing really solidified how great it was.
Yeah, because that is some masterful planning right there.
And that's like the type of shit I would still do. Another time I was also like older, I think like 19 or something, and my mom worked down the street and I had to go pick her up, and he was working on the car that we used to hang out in that I ended up getting, an old neon. They let it sit in our driveway forever, and my dad was trying to start it up, and when I walked outside before I went to get my mom, he had a small fire extinguisher, and I was like, "Is the car catching on fire when you're starting it? Because that's not good." And he was like, "It seemed like it might, so I just grabbed that in case." And I was like, "Good, because I don't want to have to go and tell Mom that the car's on fire." And then you see the spark, and he's like, "When you pick your mom up, tell her that the car's on fire." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Just do it. It'll be funny."
Yeah.
So I'm like, "All right, I can get into this," because I also enjoy a good prank. So I go to pick her up, and I'm like really good at selling things. So I'm just like looking upset, and she's instantly was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Dad was trying to get the car running again, like he said he was going to do." And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "It like caught on fire." And she's like, "What happened?" And I was like, "I don't know. It was on fire." And he said like, and we hadn't talked about this. And I was like, "I think like the fire department was called or something. I don't know what's going on." And she's like, "Is the house okay?" And I was like, "I think it got like singed. I don't know. He's pissed." That's all you ever had to say.
Yeah.
Like, he's pissed. You can't talk to him. And she's like, "God damn it." And like and it's like a 5-minute drive, and she gets so nervous,
like
and she's just
shaking.
like shaking. And so we pull in, and he's just standing in the driveway. And I can see him selling it as good, and it's getting hard to sell, and we get out, and he has a piece of pink paper in his hand, and I'm like, this motherfucker. We hadn't talked about anything. So he's doing the good, like, dramatic thing. She comes up, and she's like, what's going on? He's like, just a fucking $800. And she's like, for what? And he was like, the car caught on fire, and someone called the fire department. Since they came out, they give us an $8 fine. Here, it's a piece of paper, and it's like pink, and it looks legit. And she doesn't even read it because she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, $800. So we had to work on the car, and the car doesn't even start, so now it's another. And he's just going with it, and I'm just like, then it starts to get mean because my mom's like a fragile person.
Yeah.
And he's just going off on it, and it ended up being like some piece of paper he had from work from signing something, and he's finally like, read it, look at it. And she looks at it, and she's like, god damn it.
And he's like,
he's just dying.
Yeah.
And I was like, we really sold that well without talking, because I mentioned that there might be
That's
a fire
the best
department.
though, is when you pull a prank with somebody and like it just magically works together. One time when I was a kid, and this was a good, my dad did this as like a quasi punishment, but the more I look back on it, it was just really funny, and I would probably do it to my kids. So when I was a kid, my mom, we lived kind of across the street from a park, and we would just walk to the park in the summer. You know, we just cross the road and then just go down there for a couple hours. And my mom took us down there, and there was a kid there, and he was, I'm trying to figure out how to say this so I don't sound like such a bastard. I was 5 years old, so let's keep this in mind. I was a child, but the guy had, I don't know what the technical word is for it, but like a small arm. He had like a deformed arm, you know. And as a kid, I'm just like, what's wrong with your arm? Because, like, you know, you're a kid and you don't know any better. And he's like, I was just born that way. I'm like, but it looks weird. What's wrong? And, like, my mom is the type of person who gets mortified by everything, you know. And so, like, whenever,
me too.
Yes.
Shit, me too.
Shit, me too. And so, like, whenever she always has a habit for getting a bit over dramatic when she like retells stories, and that's something that always bit me in the ass as a kid, because like she would, like, you know, my dad wasn't around, so she would tell like my uncles or my grandpa about something that I did and make it sound like 1,000 times worse than what I actually did. It's like, I just stole something from the store. And he's like, he was walking out of there with 3 pairs of pants on and 4 CDs. It's like, no. Let's get some details straight here before we start slandering my name, because
it was one Girls Gone Wild DVD.
This is gonna start.
It wasn't even good.
I remember one time as like a 15-year-old, I was like, Mom, if this keeps going on into my adulthood, I'm gonna sue you for libel. So of course she came home, and my dad came home from work, and she was like, Bill, I was just mortified. He was at the park, and he kept asking this boy about his arm, and he wouldn't leave him alone about it, and it was just terrible. And so I can see this all in my head too. And my dad just kind of looks over, and he's like, okay. And so I was eating a bowl of ice cream because it was a hot summer day. I had some ice cream when I got home, because even though I was terrible and kept making, you know, pointing out the kid's arm, my mom's like, well, it's hot, he needs ice cream. And so I'm sitting there eating a big bowl of ice cream, and it was Moose Tracks ice cream for the story. Now, Moose Tracks ice cream, if you've never had it, this is important for the details. It's vanilla ice cream with a fudge swirl and peanut butter cups in it. Damn good ice cream. It was my favorite growing up. So I'm sitting there with a big old bowl of Moose Tracks ice cream, just shoving it down. And my dad goes, hey buddy, how's it going? I'm like, good. And he's like, so what'd you do today? What'd you do? He was like, I was like, oh, I went to the park and had fun with Mom, and yeah, it was a good day. And he goes, what are you eating there? And I was like, oh, it's ice cream. This is my favorite ice cream. He's like, well, what's in it? And I said, well, it's got ice cream, and it's got fudge. And my little 5-year-old self, I was like, it's brown like poop. And he goes, your poop's brown? And I was like, yeah, everybody's poop is brown, Dad. And he was like, no, that's not good at all. Your poop's not supposed to pale in the face like Daddy's like, no, you're supposed to, no, that's not right. You're serious right now. Your poop's brown. I'm like, yeah, why? He goes, you are so sick. He goes, we need to get you to the hospital right now. And he gets up and
he give you a color it should have been?
This is what he's putting his coat on his jacket, and I'm like, I can't, poop's supposed to be brown. He goes, have you ever seen bird shit, son? It's white. Your shit is supposed to be white. Birds are healthy and they shit white, and you are not, and you're gonna die, and we have to take you to the hospital. He's like, come on, get your coat on. No more, you're gonna die. And I was like, Mom. I was like, I can't die. She's like, okay, Bill, that's enough. And he's like, you sure? And he was like, and she's She's like, yes, it's fine. He's like, all right, you're not gonna die. Your shit's fine.
I want to do that to my kids.
I know, because now you're because like
that's
in the
a good
moment,
one.
in the moment, I was like traumatized because I was
white-
like, I'm gonna die. My poop's not white like a bird.
Yeah, the bird reference is genius.
I know, and it's so quick in the moment.
I know.
Because what this story means is when you break it down, this guy had to listen to what I was doing, and as he's sitting there talking to me about my day, he's figuring out how he can fuck with me and just ruin my day.
That's how my dad was always with the quickness.
And it's like, and that's my thing. I can't shit on the guy for it because that was genius. That was a master plan. Like a quick one. I remember I came in one time and it was storming horrible outside, like one of those awful summer storms where they're like 5 tornadoes might show up. Who knows? And I was like, Dad, it's really storming out. He goes, yeah, I was watching the news. A tornado and a hurricane smashed together right over the house, and it's gonna come down on us. And I was like, Mom, we're gonna die. And I'm like running to the basement with like my coloring books. I'm like, we're gonna die. Shut up, Bill. Constantly. I remember when I was younger, like right after my parents got divorced, my dad was like, I never really realized how much of mine and your mother's conversations were her yelling at me and me laughing about it until you pointed it out. And I was like, well, this is the soundtrack to my youth. Shut up, Bill.
My dad had a good one time where me and my mom and I think my sister ran to like the store to get some alcohol for them. I was younger, and my dad had been drinking, and like my dad has some like gastro shit where he shouldn't be drinking, and he does, and he'll throw up for like 3 days after drinking, and like constantly didn't like
do anything
try to
about
figure it out. And you would just my like teenage years would be them getting shit faced at the bar, and then me listening to him puke into a like brown grocery bag for 3 days. And I would just be like sitting in my room and just hear like, oh, and then like splatter. And I'm like, do something, you're gonna die.
Like literally,
and at this point, it would be a relief in the household.
Because no one has to hear that wet smacking sound anymore. And I can hear the sound without you even.
I know. It's very specific.
And then the slap, and then
So he'd been like having a couple drinks, and my mom went to get more drinks, and I think someone had said something that sparked this idea in his head, like, you better not get sick, blah blah blah. So we come back and weren't thinking anything of it. And in my childhood home, we go in the back door and it's the kitchen, and we had one of those like small like closet bathrooms that's just a toilet. Mm-hmm. And so he was in there, and we walk in and we just hear him puking, just like in the toilet. And she's again like, God damn it, Mom. And we're all standing there, and then it's just like halted the whole night because we're like, fuck, now he's sick. I don't know what we're even going to do. But everyone was like, fuck. So he's standing there, and she is like, do you need anything? And he's like, no. And then finally he emerges from the bathroom with 3 empty cups, just smiling like a motherfucker. He had taken glasses of water, and this was so wonderfully executed. I can't even believe it.
So what you're saying is he was taking swigs of water and then pretending
he was just pouring them, but like perfectly. He didn't even put them in his mouth. He just would go. He'd be like, and like pour it sounded so realistic. And he had 3 cups. He had planned this all out. We were gone again for like
frustratingly
5 minutes,
beautiful,
just to the gas station, and he just comes out with 3 glasses, just smiling and laughing. And she again is like, God damn it, Mom. And I was instantly like, that was fantastic.
Because you can't even be mad at the guy in that moment.
You sold that so well, it's almost unbelievable.
One time as a child, I got my mom with that to get out of school because I read the whole like, just put a can of soup in the toilet. Except what I did was I did the headlamp thing where my head was hot, but then I took the can and I like, and as I was doing it, I did that, and I was like, Mom, I'm sick, I can't go. So she's like, well, clearly there's puke everywhere, and I don't know why there's a can of soup on the floor, but yeah, you can't go to school. And I'm like, swish. Another
thing that I had thought of as well, 2 other ones, just 2 quick ones. When I was very little, in like 1st or 2nd grade, we had show and tell, but it was like consistent show and tell where like every day we had to bring something. I don't know if the teacher was just like, you guys do the work.
Yeah.
Because at first you're like, show and tell, I'll bring something cool. And eventually a couple months into school, you're like, I've got a shoelace I found in a bag
like
downstairs.
Nelson on The Simpsons. You're like, this can may have contained tomato paste.
So I remember around this era, I think was the first Toy Story. So I had a Woody like doll. It was like soft, and it had like the plastic cowboy hat, and it was like a foot tall. So it was a big Woody. So I came home from school. That was what I took to show and tell. And my dad was like, how was school? And I was like, good. And he was like, what happened? And I was like, we had show and tell. And he was like, oh, what'd you take? And I was like, I took my big Woody to school. And he just fucking died. And I'm like 5 and I don't. And it was one of those things where he's like, what was it? And I was like, I took my big Woody. And he was like, where'd you put it? And I was like, I had it in my backpack. And I just showed it to the whole class. And he was like, oh, did you get in trouble for that? And I was like, no, everybody loved my big Woody.
Loved my big Woody. They thought he was cool. They wanted to touch him.
And it's one of those things where you're a kid and you make an adult happy. So you're like, yeah, I have a big Woody. And he's like, yeah, you do. And I thought it was so funny. And then it was one of those things where like when I was probably like 15, it just popped in my head and I was like, oh, that all makes sense now. That was probably hilarious.
Yeah. Because you know for a fact, if you had a kid and he came home and he was like, hey, Dad, I showed everyone my big Woody, you'd be like, he did a what? And you'd put it on Snapchat and everything.
Yeah, that's exactly what I hope happens.
Yeah.
And then another time, I think it was the movie The Sixth Sense. Donnie Wahlberg is in The Sixth Sense at the beginning.
Is he?
I believe.
I haven't seen that movie in ages.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen a movie from 1999.
Spoiler alert. Skip ahead 15 seconds if you don't want to hear this.
In the beginning when he gets shot and ends up being murdered because he's the ghost, there it is.
I've never seen this movie.
God damn it. Someone was like, should I listen to Dapper Dads or finally watch The Sixth Sense? I'll just listen to it real quick. And then they're like, fuck, there goes my Friday night.
God damn you, Fast Finger Slim and Drama, you fucked me for the last time. It's Alex Jones. He's like, I'm going to get those Dapper Dads.
But then he eats chili and forgets about it.
Yeah, that's why he hasn't contacted us or tried to fight us yet. He just keeps eating chili. Yeah.
But
Too many chili.
I believe in the beginning of the movie, there's a man in his underwear, and it's one of his because he's like a psychiatrist or something, and he goes to confront him, and he's got the gun, and he shoots. Who the fuck is the main guy in?
Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he shoots him, and then he shoots himself. So it's Donnie Wahlberg, I believe. And when my whole family seen it, it was one of the first movies I remember seeing in the theaters. Really intense movie for like a 8-9-year-old to see.
Very. I remember as a very small kid having my sister's babysitter get it on VHS for her kids who were in high school. They were older, you know.
Yeah.
And they're just watching it in the living room. And I remember I walked by at the point where the woman ghost had like slit her wrist and she's like, look at me.
Yeah.
Look what you made me do. Just over and over.
Yeah.
And like that traumatized the shit out of me as a kid.
I remember the traumatizing scene for me was when the kid was like, you want to see my dad's shotgun? And the little kid who sees the ghost like, sure. And he turns around, his head is gone. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm in the movie theaters with my parents. And I'm like, wow, this is a great film. And I'm just like, oh my God, everyone's dead. But it's Donnie Wahlberg, and in the car ride home, my sister brought this up to me when I was trying to think of funny childhood memories. So my dad is like, yeah, Mark Wahlberg was crazy in that. And my sister's like, that was Donnie Wahlberg. And he was like, no, this was Mark Wahlberg. And it like went back and forth. I can't remember the exact thing, but my dad was like, no, it was Donnie Wahlberg from Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. And my sister was like 12 or something, and she's like, Donnie Wahlberg from Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch instead of Mark Wahlberg from Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. And it became like a heated discussion. My dad's like, that was Mark Wahlberg. And my sister's like, that was Donnie Wahlberg. And that's the type of arguments we had to have when my sister was 12 and my dad was like 35 or something.
Yeah.
And was like very certain that it was Mark Wahlberg. Also, they look drastically different.
Very
Mark
different
Wahlberg
people.
is like ripped. In The Sixth Sense, Donnie Wahlberg is disheveled and like skinny and pale, and his hair is disgusting. Like
Two very different human beings.
But this was quite a point of tension in my household. The Donnie versus Mark Wahlberg in The Sixth Sense. Get some clarification on that.
You mean Donnie Don and the Funky Bunch?
Yeah, Donnie. I just remember specifically my sister.
I'm just picturing like
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
I'm picturing like a 12-year-old cosmic mom just being like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, those are my funny memories that I have. That's all I've really got. The rest of them are traumatic.
I mean, I've got lots of good childhood memories. Just like some quick funny ones. I remember one time when my sister and I were very, very little, my mom went to go change the sheets on the beds upstairs and came back down. And in about a 5-minute span of time, we had managed to strip down to our underwear, find the red permanent marker in my mom's office drawer, and color all over ourselves from head to toe somehow. And she comes home with the laundry and just drops it. And she's like, I was gone for 5 minutes. And then my dad shamefully had to take me to preschool the next day because, you know, they tried to scrub it off of us and it was permanent marker. It wasn't going to come off for another 10 washes. And I still remember because I had 2 preschool teachers and one of them was talking to him very concerning, like, and the other one was just looking at me like very sad. And I'm just standing there like,
this is why I can't have children.
Yeah. And he's like, well, they, you see, they got into a permanent marker and just,
I think it pretty much speaks for
They
itself.
drew all over them. I mean, like, come on, he's a kid. Like, we didn't do it to him. Like, I think he was just trying to cover his own ass.
Yeah.
One of the scariest memories I have of my dad in, like, juxtaposition to that is I had a bully as a very, very small kid. Cause
It was me.
Yeah, it was you. You piece of shit. I've been waiting for this moment.
Me too, nerd. Why are you so stupid, you idiot?
You just shake all my lunch money out. I'm like, oh.
and it's just your head and your neck
Just hitting
rolling on the ground.
Ow, ow, ow.
You have no money.
You're just like, why don't you have any more quarters? I'm like, it's all in my bank account, you fucking idiot. I'm an adult. That would be a good skit for the adult bully. But I had a bully, and I came home, and I was in an after-school program because, like, my mom and dad didn't get off work till late, and so, like, I was in the after-school program till, like, 5 or 5:30 when one of them got off and would come get me. And so this kid, he would just kind of, like, push me around, and, like, him and his friends were, like, you know how it is. There's, like, one bully, and he's got, like, the cronies with him. And I went home, and my dad was like, what's wrong, buddy? You seem kind of sad. I'm like, well, you know, this guy was being mean to me. He's like, what was he doing to you? And I was like, he was just, you know, shoving me around. I didn't think anything about it. I was just telling him about it. And he goes, okay. Good to know. Which kid was it again? And he kept like asking me which kid it was. I'm like,
and then that kid went missing.
No, what happened next is even more insane than the child going missing. Because what happened is he came to pick, and what it was there was like a designated room in the high school where after we had like our activity time, we would just sit there and wait for our parents to come get us. And so we were all sitting there in a room, and you had to like sign the kid out saying you came to pick up the kid and we could leave. So he came to pick me up, and he signed me out, and I'm standing there with him, and he goes, who's the kid that's been picking on you? And as a kid, I'm like, that one right there. And, so, you know, being a stupid little snitch at like 6 years old. And he, as a full-grown man, points to this high schooler and is like, you better leave my fucking son alone. So help me God, I will come to this school and I will rip your head off of your neck and just shit down it. You little motherfucker. I will kill you. He's like, and the kid is petrified because here is a giant Polish man screaming in his face, and he's like, I didn't hit him. I didn't. He goes, I don't give a fuck what you say you didn't do. You touch my son again, you're dead. And then he signed me out and we left. And my mom got a phone call at work that day that I was no longer allowed back in the program because of my father's violent actions. And I still remember a very specific fight. My parents, well, what was I supposed? Because you know I'm upstairs and they're downstairs. Honey, you need to go to your room. Mom and Dad need to have a talk, okay? So I'm up there. Now, why would you threaten a child like that? What is wrong with you? Well, he was picking on my son. I can't just have it. You threatened to kill a child in high school. Like,
I'll kill another one.
Like, that was the worst part. Is he's very clearly in the wrong. I'm not saying standing up for your kid getting bullied is wrong. Because the school doesn't do shit.
Yeah,
you absolutely.
He just took it a little far.
He took it just. I mean, some people might say in this situation he took it a hair too far.
That's what I also remembered. This will be a good closing out story that I want to say is a quick one, but it probably won't be as quick.
Never is.
But
we're just old men telling stories outside the department store at this point, you know.
But when I was a kid, I had like a best friend. I'll say the name. Corey was like my best friend.
Ooh, full government name.
Yeah. Lived up this like a block away from my elementary school. It's one of those ones where you don't even remember how you became friends. You just went to school and eventually were friends.
Eventually you're like, I want to go to his house.
Yeah. And so we would go to his house all the time, and this was where I would do like hood rat shit. Like he had a single mom, and she would just leave and we would do whatever. I once got pneumonia from standing outside this time of year lighting things on fire with hairspray in a Sid Vicious t-shirt.
Hell yeah.
And I got pneumonia
Hell
from that.
Yeah. That's the only way to get pneumonia, bitch. I was a pussy and I just got it from touching people's dirty money at work.
Yeah, I earned it. But so we would do a bunch of stupid shit. Like one time specifically, because this plays into it, his mom smoked cigarettes and he stole cigarettes from her pack. We were like 8 maybe. We didn't smoke them. I think if we knew the knowledge of how to do that, we might have. But
you were just like, they're cigarettes.
Forever, I've thought smoking cigarettes looks cool. I still stand behind that. I get they're bad for you. They're going to kill you.
Cool, though.
People don't like them. You look 10 times cooler smoking a cigarette. I will stand behind that until I die from emphysema.
That's the only I hate smoking, but the only reason I smoke is because I think it looks cool.
I love it, and I know I look cooler. I see pictures of me smoking. I'm like, hell yeah.
I know. I see myself with a cigarette. I'm like, you cool motherfucker. You keep
if
smoking
you weren't
that
smoking a cigarette, you would look awkward in that picture.
Like, might as well be a dick in your hand if it's not a cigarette. You look cool as shit.
So we stole them and we went to like
you got big hands.
I got to do something with them.
You got big hands and I'm going to guess a nice sized hog.
So we took, like, I think 2 cigarettes each, 4 cigarettes total from her pack, and went to school after school hours, and we were just on the playground, like, fucking around with them, and we ended up just, like, crushing them on the ground and fucking around with them. I still think this is weird, but she came home and knew immediately that 4 cigarettes were gone. I smoke a lot of cigarettes.
Some people are like that.
If there are 4 cigarettes gone, I might go, pack looks a little light, but I wouldn't think anything of it.
This guy's mom was clearly a very different mom, because my mom, even though my mom had tons of shit, would know the second I was in her room, because she'd be like, who touched the books in here?
She just left the cigarettes on the table and, like, wasn't in the house. Like, his grandpa lived next door, so she would go to, like, that house, and we would just be in this house. Like, this is where I watched movies I shouldn't have. We just did whatever, because she didn't care. But she knew the second we took 4, she was like, there's 4 cigarettes gone. And like I said, I couldn't, maybe if I had kids, I'd be on it more, but I would know. Looks a little lighter, but not 4 cigarettes honestly, are gone.
Like, I grabbed my pack before I left the house today, and I was like, it looks kind of light, but I was like,
I
might have smoked
too,
them.
And then I was like, I smoked a bunch at your house last night.
Same.
Whatever. Someone could have taken 5, and I would have been like, I smoked them all at Slim's, I guess.
Literally, I could buy a pack, not see it for 2 days, and then find 1 left, and I'd be like, I probably smoked those at some point.
Yeah, that's what, I leave mine in my car, and I leave my car unlocked too often, and then I'm like, I wonder if anyone's ever just, like, taken a cigarette out of my car. Because I found, like, a really large rock in my passenger seat one time. And I'm like, this feels like someone put this here.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It was me.
So, eventually, like, the boiling point for this kid, he had one of those small toy guitars. And we were really into, like, stupid bands. So we thought it would be cool to, like, pretend we're in a band. And he smashed the guitar, which is a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And he smashed it, and then his mom found it like an hour later and was like, that was like from your grandma, and it was some like meaningful piece of shit toy guitar. And then he did the shit, which this is the shit I hate, because I've had so many friends do this, where there's like, oh, Drama did it. As a child, he was like, Drama did it. And she was like, who's Drama? And he was like, I'm Drama. And that was the birth of Drama.
Lil Drama. Lil
And,
Drama and Lil Slim getting together, and what kind of hair-raising adventures this week?
So, yeah, he did that shit where he blamed it on me, and then they won't even look at you because you're just like, you bitch. And then they, like, don't look at you. And she's like, that's it, I'm taking you home. So we get in her car, and it's like, I live a couple blocks away, and she's driving, and she's like, I'm going to tell your parents everything, how you took the cigarettes. And I'm like, as a kid, you can't defend that. My parents are going to think I was smoking cigarettes as an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
As a really cool 8-year-old.
The coolest 8-year-old.
They're going to be like, you are cool, but we're very disappointed.
You're so cool, we're going to go buy you a pack and watch you smoke it and compliment how cool you are the whole time.
And, like, there's other shit we had done that she didn't tell, and she's like, I'm telling them everything. You're going to be in so much trouble. So I'm, like, freaking out the whole car ride.
Yeah, because it's like, as a kid, you get, like, double anxiety. Because you're like, no one's going to believe me.
Yeah.
No one's going to fucking believe
I
when I say I didn't do it.
Cigarettes. Yeah.
I know. You didn't even know how to smoke the cigarettes.
And so she drops me off. She didn't talk to my parents. She just sped off. And I go inside, and I was just, like, told my parents what had happened. Like, he broke the guitar, and he blamed it on me and everything. So it's one of those things where you're just not friends anymore, but you're at school. And I think I might have mentioned this in a episode before, but I was in gym, and it was one of those things where, like, word gets around because you're like, I don't fuck with him anymore. Mm-hmm. And he's saying the same thing. So everyone's like, I thought you guys were friends. And there's just shit talking.
At 8 years old.
Yeah, at 8 years old. And I was in our gym/auditorium/lunchroom. And it was during gym.
You know you're from the Midwest, man.
And so we have the big open gym, and then there's this small area that has doors for people to, like, come in when there's events, so they don't have to walk through the school. It's a small square room where we would, like, put coats and shit, and you weren't allowed to be in there during gym because people would go and do, like, weird shit back there because it's a small square room.
At 8.
Yeah, so we're just, like, both walking down the gym, and he's walking towards me like this. And right when he comes up to me, he goes, out of everything you could say as an 18-year-old, as an 8-year-old, he goes, your mom's a prostitute, was the insult, which is pretty intense as an 8-year-old. So it was like a slow motion movie thing. He's saying it while he's walking, and we're crossing paths, and it's like, your mom's a prostitute. And I just turn, and he's still walking, just like cock back all the way. First punch I ever threw, just boom, and bashed him in the face and knocked him down. First punch I ever threw, just those words. And
Amen.
I always told my mom, I was like, I fucking defended your honor.
Damn
as an
right.
8-year-old. That kid said you were a prostitute, and I knocked him down.
I did the same damn thing as a kid. There was this kid. You know what? I won't go the full name, but his name was Tom. And Tom was talking shit on the playground when we were walking home from school. And he kept saying my mom was a whore. So I took my trumpet in the case and I smacked him in the head with it. And it knocked him down. And when he was down, I kicked him a couple of times. And then I hit him 2 more times, once in the back and once in the chest with it. Went home, snitched to his mom, and I didn't even know a school could do this. for what it's worth, the school called my mom and told me that it happened, even though it was outside of school grounds. And then I got suspended for 2 days for it.
Jesus.
Because they were like,
This is what's wrong with the school.
well, they were like, well, you can't just be beating kids up. I was like, yeah, but, and even in 6th grade, I was a fucking lawyer about it. I was like, yeah, but I wasn't on school property, so how is the school going to punish me for my actions?
But yeah, so I punch him. He falls down. He gets up and he goes to the little square room and just bawls like a baby. And people are like, Corey's in there crying.
Corey's a bitch.
You beat him up. You punched him. And I'm like, hell yeah, I did. And it was like that for the first time you throw a punch, you're like, that felt like, I feel like I got.
It was the awakening of your manhood, because you were like, oh.
Your hand hurts, but it was just so great. Like, I didn't know I could do that. I could knock a person down with this.
I know.
And so, my sister picked me up at my bus stop, and I like hop off the bus, and she was like, how was your day? And I was like, I punched Corey in the face. And she was like, what? And I went and told my dad. And my parents were always the same thing I would do with kids, like, don't start a fight, but like finish it. Like, at least stand up for yourself. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, my thing is defend yourself and don't be a snitch. That's my 2 big things I would teach my children, because it's like nobody likes a snitch. Everybody always goes and beats up the snitch at the end of the day. And you got to be able to defend what's yours.
Yeah.
You got to stand up for your own shit. You know, you can't have everybody else fighting your battles for you. You got to stand. Like, when you threw that punch, not only did you unlock the first level of manhood, you unlocked your first step of budding independence, because it's like, I can stand up for myself. I don't need my parents to do it for me. You know?
And so my sister was like, well, you're going to have to talk to Dad. And he like came down and he was like, what happened? And he knew, like, obviously there was tension. And I was like, he called Mom a prostitute. So I punched him, and my dad was like, all right, good job.
Yeah, like literally, like, I'm not going to, I will talk to my kids about the right and wrong way to do things, but I'm not going to punish them for doing the right thing in the wrong way.
And so this was so far back that nothing happened. Like, teachers knew it happened, and it was just like, kids will be kids.
Just
back
kids
in the
being
day.
kids, yeah.
Like, and so
oh man, my school was tight. I got expelled for a day because some kid claimed I rat-tailed him with an art smock while I was getting it, and I didn't even do it. He just in the middle, like, I wasn't even close to him. He just goes, just hit me. And the teacher was just like, nope, out, because apparently I was enough of a problem that it was believable. And she was like, no, out. And like, my mom got called, and I was like, Mom, I didn't hit him. And she's like, well, that's not what the school said. And I'm like, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. But so
whole time she's like, your dad's not going to be happy when he hears this. I'm like, well, then don't tell him, because it's not true.
I know, I hate that shit. So that
don't
happened.
Make him mad with lies.
That happened, and nothing came of it. But this kid became so furious with me, and this will show you how old we are and how different the world was back then. Following that, I think it was 5th grade, so I was like 10, and we had a test in 5th grade, like a science test. And I did the test, whatever. I can't remember how I even caught wind of it. He wrote on the back of this test, I'm going to kill my full government name. I'm going to kill drama. On the back of a test that he filled out and turned in.
Smart.
The teacher read it and was just like, you can't do that. You know, nowadays, if you wrote on a piece of paper in school, you would get expelled.
You would get
death threat?
with a death threat on paper.
It's like a hit list.
Oh my God! If they're suspending kids for chewing Pop-Tarts into guns, they are absolutely sending you out of there for a written out
When I
death
think
threat.
about that now, I'm like, that is insane.
No, that is something where like the kid would go to the principal.
Yeah, the kid would get expelled.
There's a story. There's a story I'm going to tell you when we get off the podcast here, because it doesn't paint me in a good light, but it paints the schools in a very bad light.
Yeah, you were the kid that wrote this test when we were in school together.
Maybe you should just fucking die Drama's full government name already. I've been waiting years for this. I'm Corey. I just ripped off the face.
I'm like, that's how I've never ran into you in the real world after this. But then, so yeah, I was just like, whatever. Because also as a kid, I was like, fucking kill me then. Let's go.
End my
I already
life.
ended you with one of these, and I got another one.
You've got a history of doing that, I've noticed.
Yeah. And then, like, this all came to a boiling point where everyone would go to like the school grounds after school, because it had like the playground in the front, basketball hoops in the back, big area. You could get on top of the school very easily. I learned as a slightly older kid, and all my shenanigans.
Learned how to break into my high school as an older kid.
I've learned a lot of things that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
But behind the school where the teachers would smoke, because it was just like out of sight in the view, if you leaned up against the fence real hard, you could see them smoking around the corner. And there was like a little area of sand where they would put their cigarette butts and then like pick them up at the end of the day. So me and my sister and 2 of her friends, they're all older, were at the playground, and he was there, and he was just like a weird kid that would just stare at me when he seen me like he was trying to kill me with his mind. And then we happened to just be like walking around the school, and we see in the sand that he wrote in the sand he was going to kill me with my full government name.
Oh my God.
So this is a
recurring theme.
This was a bigger kid. When he would come to my house one time, shout out Miss Fisher's. You know how when you go to the factory, you can get the
buckets?
One time my parents went and got the bucket, and he ate the whole bucket at my house, and my mom was furious.
Yeah, because those buckets are like 30, 40 bucks.
And he was a big kid, and like one time he came to my house, another great story about him. I had one of those rugs that was like the like car track, and it had like the whole town on it. Loved this fucking rug in my room. He came up, and he had told me that he ate like 20 pancakes for breakfast.
I believe it if the man can eat 5 pounds of potato chips.
Yeah, he was an animal, and he had eaten them with his grandma took him out and just was like, eat as many pancakes as you can, you fat fuck. I assume I wasn't there. And so he's in my room, and he's like, I don't feel good. And like someone was in my bathroom, and I was like, you gonna be okay? And he throws up all over my beautiful rug.
20 pancakes.
It was hot in the summer, and my mom tried to clean it, and it always stunk. And my mom was like, we have to throw it away. And I was like, I don't want to. And she's like, Corey ruined it. So he writes this in the sand, and my sister briefs her one friend about like this whole thing. So he just draws a stick figure, but it's just a big circle, and he just says, kill that fat kid. And then we seen Corey go over and read it, and just seen him just look sad. And I was like, yeah, you just fucking want me to die because you snitched on me on something that you made.
And that's the worst part about it, is that this guy is trying to get you back for something that you did.
And we were like best friends, and he just did some stupid shit and then blamed me. And I've had so many friends do that shit where they blame you for something they did because then they don't have to deal with it.
I had a friend that lived across the street from me growing up. I can't even remember the kid's name because he like wasn't like that great of a friend, but like he came over one day and started like trying to like eat my dad's oranges or something. I was like, you can't eat those. Those are for
trying to eat my dad.
Well, I was like, you shouldn't eat those. Those are for his lunch. And he's like, well, I'm just gonna eat what I want. And I like locked him out of the house all day, and he was like crying about it. And I was just in there watching TV. And then like his mom was like, I don't think he should come over to play anymore.
Some kids are weird.
Some kids are wild, and they just do whatever they want.
I did some weird shit, but some kids. There's some weird kids.
Some kids just don't have manners. There was another time. Oh, no, I can't tell this.
Yeah. You got to wrap it up.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you after this. Okay, so Dapper Dad's After Dark. Catch the naughty stories we can't tell on the show. Yeah, that was episode 24, everybody. So
that was a good submission. Shout out you with the submission. We appreciate it. So send some more shit like that. Here's some of these stories that you unlock by texting us something. And I'm like, oh, yeah. You unlock all the bad memories, too, and I keep them inside.
You unlock all the bad memories, and I secretly hold it against you, but it's okay. I love you so much. Thank you so much for supporting my podcast. I love you. I love you if you're listening to this. Just so you know, you're my favorite person in the entire world, and I hope someday I can meet you face to face and just give you a big old kiss on the cheek for supporting my show.
I know, weird. So leave us some 5-star reviews. Send us some submissions. www.thedapperdads.com. dapperdadspodcast@gmail.com. 402-7-DAPPER. That's 402-732-7737. Tell us if you wipe your ass sitting down or standing up.
We have to get to the bottom of this. I have to understand the consensus.
I need, like we said, answers. Anonymous submissions are at the website. Submit wherever the fuck you want. We
gotta know.
Tell us. We need 10 so we can get a good...
I need answers. How do you wipe your ass, America?
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter @DapperDads. Follow us on Instagram @DapperDadsPodcast. We're on Spotify now, if you fuck with that. We're everywhere, bitch. 2018 is going to suck our dicks.
Dapper Dad's going to be everywhere you can get it. So make sure
we've got some things coming.
Make sure you get into the dads before all your friends do so you can tout about how cool you are.
Yeah. All right.
See ya.